Are live. Tell your friends you're listening to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
We have another very special episode. We have the 2010 movie The Town. Nathan, do you have a history with
Oh, we
The
watched a
Town?
movie this week. Oh, yes, I saw this on HBO when it came out on HBO
Okay.
a while back,
Did
probably 2015.
did you guys live in Boston for a while?
No, we didn't live in Boston. We lived in Massachusetts in one of the satellite
Okay.
areas, and I'm not sure exactly where. But
Okay.
we lived more in the state of Massachusetts. Boston was not a place that I'm very familiar with at all.
Okay.
I know it's not as big as you think it would be.
Well, it's like one of the original towns, so of course
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah,
yeah,
because
it's a horse city. Yeah,
I mean, when
it's
you watch the car chases in this movie, it looks like it's a Europe. So,
yeah,
um, of course they did something recently, didn't they? Where like they stretched the town apart to put a highway in there or something like that.
oh, the Big Dig. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they basically ran they ran all the traffic, like a lot of it's underground, like more than it's ever been. Like New York has stuff like that.
yeah.
But I guess percentage wise, like whatever they did was it's a colossal amount of underground traffic to break up congestion.
Huh. Okay.
But it only went 100% over budget, so it was it's a I think it was one of the most ambitious public works projects in a dense packed city that had ever been done. So because they have that cool bridge.
Oh, is that the Millennium Bridge or something, or is that something else, or they just look alike?
They look alike. A lot of people have gone to that center pillar bridge with the things that come out instead of the two supports on either side.
Yeah.
Because we have one of those here now too, somewhere, and it's like that looks like the Boston Bridge.
Oh, the Millennium Bridge is in the UK, and well, no, it looks completely different. Never mind. Oh, it's like a walkway. Never mind. I don't know why I thought of that. Anyways, yeah, yeah. It's got like the two center trusses, and then like all the suspension like comes out from there. It's like kind of an interesting web of suspension wires. So,
Yeah,
and it's very clean looking. So. um.
yeah. It's been I mean it's been in operation for like 22 years now.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's been around a while, but it was a super ambitious like if this works here, we can apply it to other large cities.
Yeah.
And when you looked at the cost overruns, it's like, well, it worked.
Yeah.
Apply it anywhere? No. I remember like East Coast infrastructure is a nightmare. Of
Yeah.
it's like literally, well, are we going to find an Indian burial cave or look, it's George Washington's ghost. I mean, they just ancient crap all over the place. New York City's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like easement for utilities, you're just jackhammering up the streets. It's like, oh wow, this is crazy. Because parts of New York were built before utilities were a thing,
Yeah.
and Boston's the same way. It's so yeah. These are. I think Boston's been fairly modernized
Okay.
because for a city their size, that's a super wealthy place.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they have deep pockets there.
Yeah. There's. Yeah.
'Cause
It's.
remember, Detroit in area is twice the size of
Yeah.
Boston.
Well, like, what are all the like? We got Boston University. You got Harvard. What are the other smart schools there? There, what, MIT's there.
MIT,
Yeah. So yeah.
UMass,
um.
Northwestern, Amherst. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of them. Yeah.
Okay. So your history with this movie is you saw it on HBO and you appreciated it. So, um.
Yeah, I'm not a Southie or anything. I just
No.
was like, oh, this was cool.
Um. But yeah, this definitely was like. Well, I mean, the weirdest thing is thinking that this movie is 15 years old because it does not feel that way.
The only thing that marks it is the phones they're using.
Yeah, they still got flip phones.
Yeah, that's the only thing that you can tell. Everything else is like this could be shot today.
Well, yeah, and there's nothing like really with the camera tech. I'm pretty sure if I analyzed it, overanalyzed it, I could be like, yeah, this has less detail or something like that, but like it still looks good. So I don't, it's not, I don't even know if it's shot on digital or if it was on film. It was probably on film at that time, but um, But yeah, this was a moment for Boston.
Yeah.
Like The Departed came out like I think 4 years earlier, so like there was a thing. Yeah, I think what 2004 the Red Sox won the World Series, and then again they won it in 2008, and then the Celtics won a championship in 2008, and then the New England Patriots have been winning championships all over this thing, and then the Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 2011. So, I mean, I know it's all sports stuff, but you look at how over enthused the Boston people are for their sports teams. So, um, because especially with the Red Sox, it was just like they're just leaning into the curse that they're never going to win a championship ever again, and then they won two in like 4 years. So
Yeah.
And of course is well, I'm not sure if it's a course. It's directed by Ben Affleck, which this was his second movie. His first movie was Gone Baby Gone, which is also a like a Boston detective movie. Was that part of that like Mystic River universe as well? I can't remember.
Maybe.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because isn't his brother in Mystic River?
Oh, is he? Maybe that's where I'm
Because
confused.
or maybe his brother was in Gone Baby Gone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Ben Affleck directed that one.
Okay. Okay.
I just can't remember. I can't remember the author who wrote those like Boston kind of thriller novels. I know Mystic River was one of them, and then I thought that was the other one. And there's like three more of them. I don't know if they have any. I don't know if they had a shared universe they put to film, or if they like if all the rights were acquired separately or anything like that. Cinematographer is Robert Elswit, who we last saw shooting Nightcrawler.
Yes.
So he works with both the Gilroy brothers, Dan and Tony. He worked with Paul Thomas Anderson a lot. What else other stuff did he do? He shot Geely infamously, which also had Ben Affleck in it. The good old Benifer.
Oh, that was like 1.0 of that.
Yeah. And what else?
Trying to think of what was. Oh, that guy did. He's on like Boogie Nights.
Yeah, he does all the Paul. He does all the Paul Thomas Anderson movies, like pretty much almost all of them.
There Will Be Blood. Yep.
Yeah, that's another PTA one.
I did a Mission Impossible. I did a Born Legacy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which that's
he didn't have Vice too. Okay, cool. I thought.
Yeah, that's another PTA movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mission Impossible.
Salt,
which I hate.
Smartest dumb movie you'll see. It's like, is this movie smart? No. Damn it.
Yeah, he's got to be British, right? That's what this seems like a British guy.
Yeah, only if he's British.
No.
Born in Los Angeles.
No.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. All right.
Yep.
I mean, that's the two places. If you're going to be cinematographer, well, it'd be three places: either California, the UK, or Australia. So we have a lot of Australian cinematographers. So.
Oh yeah, Australia made a big investment. Well, we talked about Australian film.
Yeah. But also we end up watching a lot of action movies, and that seems to be like what Australian cinematographers kind of like hone in on.
Yeah.
Written by Peter Craig, and the word Ben Affleck, ampersand, and Aaron Stockard. So Aaron Stockard's kind of like a co-writer that writes with Ben Affleck a lot. Like he even has like kind of like additional credits, but in like Good Will Hunting and stuff like that. Okay. Remember, Ben Affleck has multiple Oscars. One for best screenplay, one for a producing credit on Argo. Peter Craig, what he did like the last two, I guess not the last two, like of the Mockingjay of the Hunger Game stuff.
Okay.
He did like 12 Strong. Oh yeah, he did the Top Gun Maverick movie, And he recently did like Gladiator 2. He wrote that as well. So he's kind of a he's kind of a premier guy right now. Because I think right now, like Top Gun Maverick is like the biggest movie of all time. So,
Movie, yeah, I watched it. I was like, this is actually kind of neat. I
yeah,
didn't
but
think.
I don't know if that was like a post-COVID thing, like let's go to the movies, or if it was like pure nostalgia. Because like top, well, I don't feel like Top Gun was really that huge of a movie. It's like it's in everybody knows it, but I don't feel like it's like everybody had to go see
I
it.
think it's one of those movies that maybe it wasn't like pulling down Titanic numbers, but I think everyone has seen and liked it at some point in their life.
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh, they're doing this again with a massive budget and modern special effects. It's like, oh, cool, let's go see that.
um, and of course the cast is Ben Affleck, Rebecca
Oh, it's
Hall.
also based on the book.
Oh
Interestingly,
yeah, I read did you read? I read the book. Did you read it, or did you know about
no,
the
I
book
didn't,
before
I
the?
didn't read it. When I found out that it was Chuck Hogan who was the co-writer with Benicio del Toro on The Strain,
Okay.
which those books were kind of interesting. I didn't watch much of the TV series, but I
Oh,
remember
I didn't know they were book series first. Okay.
yeah, they were book series, but like years before.
All right. Okay.
Because it's like, oh, Benicio del Toro was writing books, and yeah, and this was the co-writer on it, and I was like, wow, this seems kind of like a David Mamet like script, kind of, sort of, without
Yeah.
the dialogue, but definitely like a
Hey. Robert Elswit shot Heist.
Okay.
Heist is like a bad movie with like some of the coolest dialogue ever put to film. And an amazing cast. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember it.
but what are you saying about Chuck Hogan?
Oh, I was just surprised. Like I did not know that until I researched this movie. It's like, oh yeah, he wrote that book, and the book's pretty well regarded too.
Okay, all right.
Everyone like it's that because I guess they stay close to the plot in this until
Yeah,
they have to be from it.
I mean, yeah, the movie is pretty much the book. They changed the ending, and then they definitely changed the time because the book was written in like 2004 or something like that, but the book specifically takes place in 1996.
Right. Yeah, I know they said it was like a 90s set book.
Because there's also like kind of the idea of the book is that this is the last heyday of like armed bank robbers before
Yeah.
everything becomes digital. So, which is not untrue. So, um, so yeah, the cast is Ben Affleck, Rebecca Hall, and John Hamm, which that's a good. This is like John Hamm kind of peak Mad Men, so it was interesting to like get him in a supporting role for a movie. So,
Yes.
which he hasn't really done. What is he doing now? He kind of does movie. I don't know what John Hamm's doing right now. He does movies here and there. Did you ever see that Fletch movie?
No, I didn't.
I don't want to oversell it, but it's a really good comedy. Yes, it's very. You know, I mean, you remember the original Fletch, and it's just kind of that awkward humor. John Hamm
Yes.
does it like in a different way, but just exactly the kind of the same kind of style. Bit more sardonic, and he's a bit more capable, but also still an idiot. So it's a very interesting movie. And then like Blake Lively, like in a bit role, like she was also like I think this is like peak of her run. She was on that show Gossip Girl, which I never watched, but I kind of seemed like the second coming of Sex in the City.
Oh, okay.
And she plays a very like maybe one of the most despicable people in the movie. So that's a hard role to live up to. So, but she doesn't get a lot of screen time. But
John. Let's see. John Hamm played another FBI agent in the Richard Jewell movie in 2019.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Eastwood directed.
All right, yeah. Yeah, he was also like the bad guy in Baby Driver. I think, or yeah, one of the bad guys or something like that. So he's been popping up here and there. He also does a lot of stuff with Comedy Bang Bang, which is interesting.
Yeah, he was on Between Two Ferns a couple times.
Yeah.
I thought was interesting because that's a
Yeah, he like dabbles in improv comedy.
yeah.
And I think he spent like the entirety of his like the front part of his career. He was in a detective show that was like on like Lifetime Network or something like that, and it ran for like 7 seasons, and like you have no idea what it is. It's like what the hell's this? But it existed. Um,
Yes, Mystic River and Gone Baby Gone were written by the same guy,
okay, all right.
and he also wrote Shutter Island, Live by Night.
Huh. Okay.
And he's from Dorchester, which is a neighborhood of Boston,
Yeah.
Massachusetts. His name's Tom Lahane.
Oh, and the
Sorry, Dennis Lahane.
Chuck Hogan, the novel that wrote the novel that's based on is called Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
So, which I don't know. It's kind of a stupid title, but I don't know. It had a blurb from Stephen King saying one of the best books of the year, so it must have been successful. But
yeah,
again, like it was in turnaround for a long time, so eventually it landed in Ben Affleck's lap. So, yeah, it came out September 17th, 2010. So I don't know. Yeah, again, about 15 years old. Don't know what I was doing back then, but something.
no, I don't remember anything. Well, that was like the post. Yeah, I was like moving from place to place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably gonna be like the lows of the
2008 post 2008 recession.
Yeah. Oh, before we start, do you have any questions about the book before we start? Before I just start bringing up random book trivia here and there?
No, not really. I didn't, like I said, I didn't get a chance to read it. I just knew about it.
It's fine. There's good details. There's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of smart choices that the movie makes, but also the movie kind of almost moves too quickly.
Okay.
Because that was like the weirdest thing. It probably felt that this time around, like I still thought it was a good movie, but I felt like, man, scenes just start and end very abruptly. It's like there's a lot of scenes in this movie. So, and so like yeah, it's like wait, how much time has passed? Which they have got no idea because it seems like they do like 3 robberies in the span of like 2 weeks, which I think it's supposed to be like over the supposed to be happening over the course of like 2 years or something like that. I have no idea.
Okay.
But it also seems like he says like his stats of how many places he's robbed, which it was like 6, but it seems like this is his day job. So it's like, so I don't know what he's doing. Like how does bank robbing like end up like in his favor? It's like, because in the book they go into more detail of how he basically just doesn't spend any money because that's how he keeps the heat off of him. Is that he has like this construction job where like they pay the construction company or they pay a guy under the table and then he'll give them a wage so that they have like money on tax books, but then they don't have any credit cards and so they can only spend what they have, and they all live at like Doug's house when his mom died, and so they just have that house now, and so they still live like just like low life blue collar people who should be making way more money, and then it's like, well, what are you gonna do with this bank money? So
yeah, it is kind of weird. Yeah, I'm taking it. Ben Affleck or the character, and I didn't read the book, but I'm taking it from the show. It sounds like he's close to having some type of no-show job.
Yeah,
like that the guy set up for him. Like he does show up at the construction site when he knows the heat's on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like he's busting rocks all day and then planning at night. It's like, no, you wouldn't have enough time.
Well, that's the other thing I don't understand. Like, does bank robbery just buy him free time? Like, what's he? Because all we see of him is planning bank heists, going on dates, and bank heists.
Yeah.
That's his entire life. It seems like a normal job is way easier than that. So I don't know if he just can't handle a day job or if his family life compels him to do this, or what's going on.
Well, they said when he was going to be a hockey star, he couldn't stop attacking his teammates, so maybe he can't work with others very well.
Yeah,
But
that's
he
true.
also seems to be the leader of this group, so
Yeah, yeah.
okay, how does that work?
Um, but I don't know. We just did two multiple bank robberies movies, and like they're always fun. But like I always like try to, overanalyze things and like what is the positives of bank robbery, and
Yeah,
how is this going to work out in your favor ever?
it's not. There's no stories that are believable that like, and they lived happily ever after.
um,
It's just always been a simple concept.
yeah,
It's like one of the Clint Eastwood characters was like, "Why do you rob banks?" It's like because that's where the money is. It's that.
yeah,
But it's also like, yeah, there's a lot attached to that as time goes on. Because if you steal from rich people, they can summon armies to hunt you down and kill you
yeah.
just for satisfaction, just to say like, well, if you steal from me, you'll be killed. Because the cool robbery were like the train robberies and the horse days.
Yeah.
We're gonna rob the train, the moving train. It's like that's cool because you can literally, well, if you get the money off the train, you can go any direction. It's like
Yeah.
they're not gonna find you, but they will. They'll actually raise armies and run you down. But it seemed like the most optimistic of like I could steal like a bag of gold and literally stake my claim in California and never have to work again, or it seemed like the most realistic time to do that.
Yeah.
But it required you being able to ride a horse, jump on a train, and use a fire and dynamite, and be hunted down by, whatever robber baron train guys would just hire, ex Civil War psychopaths to like just kill them. I don't care if you get the money.
Pinkertons are coming for you with a couple of double barrel shotguns.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like that seems like the most dreamlike time to rob. I also like that weird one with what was it? It was based on the Michael Crichton, now the Great Train Robbery,
Yeah.
where it was who was it? Just
Is
talking
that
about
Sean
it.
Connery again?
Yeah, Sean Connery and the other guy, the guy who Donald Sutherland.
Okay.
Yeah, it was their heist movie, but that was in England, and that was much or later. I think it was like almost at the turn of the century.
And also, like in this movie, it's like armed robbery, which that just nothing but heat getting drawn on you. It seems like there's probably easier ways to steal something when at nighttime. It would be more clever about it.
That's why the movie Thief always inspired me. It's like, if only I could understand metallurgy. I would much rather do that than get into a running gun battle with police. Like, same reward, just much lower risk. You just have to be a technical assassin of vault systems. You don't have to, because if you start shooting at police with machine guns, well, they're never going to stop coming after you.
Yeah.
You're not getting away.
I mean, it also seems like in this movie, it's not stated directly, but it seems that every shot fired by them in this movie is probably the first time they've ever shot at anybody any heist ever. So
yeah. Yeah, they're not like psychopathic killers. It's a lot less the skill bar, like Heat. I don't know if those guys were ex special forces or what, but they seemed like, oh, we'll kill people if you get in our way.
Yeah.
And occasionally they had people on their crew that did when they didn't have to, and it's like, don't do that. It's like, why? Is it immoral? It's like, no, it brings the police. If you rob someone and the guys are alive but injured, that's one thing. Once you kill people, you bump it up a notch, and so now we have to kill you. But these guys didn't seem quite like the Heat guys, where you don't know. Like the Heat guys seem to have like a variety of very specialized skills.
Yeah.
Like these guys didn't seem ex-military. They seemed like people familiar with guns, but not guys that had like egos so huge. It's like, I can do anything. It's like, no, we actually have a lot of doubt and our lives sort of suck. So,
I mean, we'll get to like the quotes I said up front here, but like in the book, it's stated that like it's very specific because the what's his name, Frowley, the FBI guy, yeah, Frawley,
yeah,
Frawley is like an FBI guy like stationed in Boston specifically for robberies, And in Charleston, they have the number one armored car robberies in the world.
Yeah.
Now, what's stated in the book is that we're actually where the most bank robberies are in L.A. And he's trying to
Yes.
like solve this case and get bumped up to go to L.A. to solve more bank
Yeah.
robberies.
LA is actually a nightmarish place to have banks because you have freeway access in like 20 directions.
Yeah,
And once somebody gets on a freeway, unless you're actively chasing them, they're gone.
yeah,
Like, unless you have a helicopter or cars on them, like, you'll never get them. They will just literally disappear into a 25 million person metroplex that goes in all directions. Where this, it seems like, yeah, get 3 streets over and switch cars. They have no idea because it's still very dense,
yeah.
but it's not like LA dense where it's like it just goes on forever, never stops.
And then also in the book, because I mean they show it off here, but like in the book, it's more stated like it being the end of an era. It's also the end of like the Irish mob and
Yeah,
like their kind of control over it, where like you keep quiet because like the mob's gonna come kill your family if you say something like that. Like that's less and less every day. So
yeah.
as like the mobsters die of cancer and they have no new recruits. So
Yes, they're set. Yeah, this is Charleston, Boston, which is this. It's the oldest neighborhood in Boston,
okay,
and it had the largest influx of Irish famine people.
okay,
So it's a very super Irish area, even to this day. I don't know. I've heard that like it's becoming more and more like San Francisco, though. It's like, yeah, the notion of blue collar and poor people living in the greater Boston area, it's they're starting to go extinct.
yeah, yeah.
Can't afford to live anywhere around there on any kind of normal job. So, but I don't know if that's entirely true. I know it's true in San Francisco, but I don't know if but I've heard because I heard Boston
Well,
was
I
like,
mean, it's that way in San Francisco because literally everybody's like a tech millionaire.
yeah,
And like, oh, we got 2,000 houses here. It's like, well, I guess we got 2,000 tech millionaires. So that's it. Um, I don't know. I don't know with Charleston. I mean, that could just be the typical gentrification thing where it's like some people with money want to extend it as far as possible. They buy like basically a whole neighborhood to themselves
yeah, yeah,
and then
exactly.
fix it up and then
That
start.
was a conflict in this movie
Yeah.
because the Charleston, the original Charleston people, like the mob blue collar guys, what did they call them?
Toonies.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, now they were living like right because they found out like, oh, she doesn't live but 2 blocks from us. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no. Oh, so yeah, so that was a conflict even in this movie.
Yeah.
Because there's two kinds of cities in America. There's the growing ones and the dying ones. You can't afford to live in one, and you wouldn't want to live in the other.
so we get in. We got Act One. We got titles. We got a bunch of titles here. So,
Got a lot of exposition here in these titles.
one blue-collar Boston neighborhood has produced more bank robbers and armored car thieves than anywhere in the world. Charlestown. This is a quote. Bank robbery became like a trade in Charlestown, passed down father to son. Quote, federal agent, Boston Robbery Task Force, which that seems like a lie because it's not an actual person, but whatever. Um,
Sounds good.
Another quote, I'm proud to be from Charleston. It ruined my life, literally, but I'm proud.
I like that one. I did like that. Said who said that? It was like anonymous resident or
Yeah,
something.
Charleston man, Boston Globe. um, but yeah, then yeah, that's why this is called The Town, which is a better title than Prince of Thieves, but also kind of still vague. But because I tried to
Makes
look,
sense.
well, all the famous people from Boston, you look up Charleston, like who's specifically from that neighborhood, and like nobody's famous from there since like the 1800s. So
Yeah, very old place. Now, yeah, like who's the guy? Like the Wahlbergs are from Dorchester, I think,
yeah,
and there's a bunch of other little neighborhoods in there, but that's one that always sticks out. Like I've heard that
like
one.
what's Southie? Is that just South Boston? Is
Yeah,
that does it have its own name, or do people just call it Southie or whatever?
I think that's the only thing I've heard it called.
Okay, because that's like Goodwill Hunting things.
Yeah,
Because even like yeah, because like Boston almost has like that kind of like UK thing of like accents within accents within accents,
yes,
and so like a Southie Boston accent is different from a Charleston accent and stuff like that. So
Yeah, New York accent is distinct. The Maine accent is different.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the old world there. Because as soon as you start moving west, the states get huge and the accents disappear. One pretty much sounds the same from the middle of the country to the coast. It's like, how did that happen? Cars and television.
We fade in on a monument in Charleston. I don't know if I'm supposed to know what this monument is. It looks like the Washington Monument.
Yeah, it looks like a precursor to the Washington Monument.
I don't know if this is like just a monument you built, or if this is like some kind of like pagan ritual, or what's going on here.
I'll look it up. I
Yeah.
should have looked it up before.
I mean, it's not really featured in the movie. It's just whenever they do helicopter shots, it's like it's kind of like you always see it. So.
Oh, that is the Bunker Hill Memorial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
It's
what's the
about
bunker?
Bunker Hill.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Basically the opening battle, or was the first major battles between the British and American or Continental Army.
Okay, all right. All right, well, then, yeah, that deserves a monument. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get a voiceover from Doug McCrae, played by Ben Affleck. He's giving background on an armored car driver because you see like this guy just getting like I like how all the armored car drivers are like retired cops in their 50s. So.
Yeah. And I look at these guys and I'm like, I'm in my 50s. I don't look as old as those guys. Then again, I wasn't a cop in Boston. Maybe that ages you in dog years.
Yeah.
Maybe those guys drank all the time.
And even here they're saying like they're making $100 a day, which in the Midwest it's like, well, you can get by with that, but I'm not sure if that's nothing in Boston.
I think that's your pension supplements that you can maybe do it.
Yeah, that's how you hire guys cheaply to do a job that's supposed to be like you should pay people more to not steal from you. So.
Because I think cop jobs there, I think it's 25 and out in like those major cities.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I would have, if I was a cop, I would have been retired 3 years ago. So
yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, I think the fire departments might be even less. I think if you get hurt enough, they're like, you just get your pension because you've been damaged too badly. I think the same with cops. I think if you get shot enough, they're like, yeah, you just get your full pension. Congratulations.
Then we got Doug and James, which I'm calling him James, but everyone's got a nickname except for Doug. It's just Doug. But James is Jem.
Yeah.
Not Jim, Jem, Jem or Gem. So.
Yeah, pronounce it like Jim. But explain the difference between Jim and Jim. That's an English magic. Spelled different, sounds the same, but means different things.
Yeah, this is Jeremy Renner. Probably another height of his career. He's in a lot of things at this time. Like he's in like the Marvel universe at this time, I believe. He was in 28 Weeks Later. I think they were shoving him into the that new the Bourne Legacy movie around this time. So,
I believe so, yes.
He was also in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, which the Ellsworth shot that as well. So,
but 2 years before this, he was in the Hurt Locker.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason he got suggested for this, because Ben Affleck wanted somebody else, but Casey Affleck said, no, you want Jeremy Renner to play this. He's made to play this character.
Okay.
He was in the that assassination of Jesse James.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really cool dialogue movie to listen to these people speaking this Old West Shakespeare. There's a lot of that in that movie.
Yeah, it's a real hard movie to like sell you on, but it's just like it's a long movie.
Yes.
It's neat if you have no idea what the fuck it's about. If you appreciate history, I'll give it.
I like the writing in it too, and the dialogue in it was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It had a lot of great actors too.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this was.
I had no idea what that movie was about, other than like, the title. But I had no idea like how far it goes. Like, and the idea that this guy like he assassinates Jesse James, and then basically goes on like a Broadway tour reenacting the assassination, and then what the guy was basically like the second most famous person next to who's the guy that shot Lincoln?
Oh, John Wilkes Booth.
Yes. It's like all these just fascinating things. And it's like, how's this a movie? It's like, well, it's barely a movie, but it's really interesting. So
It's basically a character study
yeah,
of a man who wanted to be greatness and obtained it, and then was very unhappy once he got it.
yeah.
Because once you go to such great heights, you can't be anything else. It's like, hey, there's a guy that killed Jesse James. Well, actually, there's more to my person. No, nobody cares. It's not Jesse James.
He shot him in the back like a coward.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you're famous for being a coward. Famous gunfighter in the back, which everyone's secretly like, yeah, good plan, but I wouldn't.
So Doug and James are going over strategies. If things go sideways on the robbery, where like here's your outs, and yeah, I think this is where he even says like, shoot the engine block. Like there's no need to shoot people because again, they don't say it explicitly, but it's like that's going to bring more heat. A murder charge. They're already doing armed robbery, and that's just almost murder anyway. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's just under it. So let's not kill anybody. So yeah, we see the armored car guards. Like one guy goes into the bank. This is like morning before the bank opens. He opens up the door of the bank, and there's like an orange plumbing truck parked like almost like directly outside the door, like on the sidewalk. And then as soon as the guy opens the door, they just rush the bank, and then they zip tie the door closed so nobody can get in. So, yeah, and then they just start like, yeah, they start getting everybody on the floor. Like one guy pulls out like a candy bowl and then like throws all the candy on the ground so they can put all the cell phones in it and dump bleach on all the cell phones. So, a lot of use of bleach in this movie, which seems like smart, but I don't know how accurate it would be, or how good it would be. In the book, it sounds almost like they use such an abundance of bleach that just the fumes are like doing the job of covering up their tracks rather than just actually directly pouring bleach on everything. I don't know if that's true or not, but
well, what the bleach does is it destroys hair and clothing fibers too.
yeah.
And plus, they also mix other stuff in randomly, so you don't know what's what.
Yeah.
They're like throwing bags of hair and confetti. But once you expose that to bleach, it essentially destroys anything that makes it unique.
Yeah.
So you're doing a couple things at once there. I don't know how that works. I don't, I'm not like reading books about how to bypass modern forensics.
Yeah.
That kind of gets what do you call that? Attention drawn
Yeah.
your way.
I don't know, again here it's just showing them that they're thinking this out. So, it's not just grabbing cash and running. You see them grab specific cash and see that one has a tracker, this one has a die pack, so they know to look for that stuff. Which we've watched several bank robbery movies for this, and like that's always a thing. So it's like everybody knows to think of that now. This one seems more obvious. It's just a wad of cash. You flip it over, you see the tracker. So that seems a little bit too obvious, but that's probably something you make for. It's easier to tell in a movie where you show a thing for 2 seconds and everybody understands what's going on, even though it's not practically how it would be done. Like you might want to hide the tracker rather than just have it like exposed as soon as you turn it over. So
it's just establishing that these guys know what to look for.
Yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, they wear skull masks and hold up the place with guns. They basically look like Slipknot robbing a bank here. Which that's kind of going on with this is basically this is like in the tradition of what's the Catherine Bigelow heist movie with Keanu Reeves?
Oh, Point Break.
Point Break, yeah, it's kind of along those lines here. In the book, they're wearing Jason masks with scars on it, which is more of there's more hockey stuff in the book. So,
yeah.
So, but which they do, yeah, they do have hockey. They do have hockey masks later on, but it was like it's when they beat up the other thugs.
Yeah.
They grab the bank manager, Claire, played by Rebecca Hall, which I really don't know what else she's been in. She's British, so she does British things. I saw a quick snippet of something she's done recently where it's like a BBC show that has like 6 episodes that's been running for 4 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those. Yeah.
where it's like she's a character. She hears some special like frequency that nobody else can hear, so nobody knows if she's crazy or if she's hearing something. And it's not a horror movie or a series or miniseries. So I don't know if you know her from anything else.
Nah, I don't really recognize her from anything.
I mean, this is a I believe it's the stated budget's $37 million, which for 2010 for an action movie that's basically no money at all. So
Yeah.
they did some magic with this movie. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, she was in the Red Riding trilogy.
oh
That's
okay
what-
right
So I know I recognized her face from somewhere
yeah.
because she has a very unique look to her.
I mean, she's doing an American accent here, so it's she does a good job. So I don't think when I saw her in this movie I didn't know she was British. So, but she's also not really doing a Boston accent either. So
Unless she's an outsider, that's why.
yeah, she is, but like in the book, it's like I don't know. I can't remember in the book. Like in the book, I think she's from Boston, but she's just from a different like part of the city, and then she moves to Charleston.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a weird thing in the book where it's like they have her license, but her license has her old address on it. And then that's supposed to be like a thing, but then it's like, well, they've already been watching her for 2 weeks or whatever, so they already know where she lives. So it doesn't matter what their license says. They know where she lives. Yeah, here's a really interesting thing. I don't know if this is true, but like they watch the clock because I guess if the combination is entered at a wrong time, then like the alarm will go off. So they sit there and wait for the clock to hit a certain like time around the clock, and then she can enter in the bank vault combination, which which I don't. Yeah, which that was something that was more explicitly explained in the book. I don't know if that's if anybody picked up on what's going here, but there's like the moment where they look at the clock until they let her enter the combination. Because basically, I mean, that's what they that's the other thing that shows off they did their homework here is they just keep telling the bank people, I know what you're going to do. I know that exists. Don't do that. I have a gun. So yeah, like they wait till it hits a specific time, and she starts entering the combination, but she's fumbling around, and then Doug, who's behind a mask here, like kind of grabs her hand. He says, "Slow down, like breathe." Which I don't know. There's a thing in the book. In the book, she has a plum Saturn with a bumper sticker on it that says "Breathe."
Okay.
In this book, she has a Prius that we never see, right?
Yeah. Somebody talked about.
Yeah. They get in the vault. We cut to a guy pops a bunch of hard drives from the security camera and then microwaves them. So it's a fun little business. Because again, in the book, it's 1996, so all they gotta do is just grab all the tapes and a bunch of VCRs and just break all the tapes and they're good. So. Although you could just microwave tapes as well. So
Yeah, that would work.
I don't know, Nathan. You ever microwave a VHS tape?
I've never put anything in the microwave that shouldn't be in there because I don't want to cute it.
Then we have like a guy outside's kind of poking at the front door. He's like, "Hey, you open?" And he's just kind of kicking the door, and like everyone goes silent. Like even like the robbers go silent. Everybody in the bank goes silent. And then one guy he has like an earpiece in. He intercepts that a silent alarm was set off. Like they've tapped into like the cop frequencies or something like that. And then James gets mad and beats a guy with the butt of a rifle. And he's saying stuff like, "We were already gone. Why'd you do that?" It's more stated in the book that like this guy they beat with the butt of the rifle is possibly going to be partially blind, and then like Claire is very like she feels guilty about that because she's the one that set off the silent alarm and she like let him get beat for it. So here it just kind of happens. You don't really get on that's not a side story that happens.
Yeah.
They douse everything in bleach, which I think in the book it's like some extra super bleach, which I don't know, whatever. It just shows that they're they're trying to it shows them thinking, which is good for any heist movie. You can't just have people just grab money and run. They have to be thinking about it.
Yeah.
Unless it's that simple, and then it makes him look that even, like in Groundhog's Day, where he knows the routine so much, he just knows how to go up and grab a bag of money and walk away. so, so because like a lot of the cops get alerted, James grabs Claire in case things go wrong with the cops on the way. And then we just kind of like they hop in a van, they drive off speedily, but they're not getting chased at all. They leave her, they blindfold her. Like they take their masks off. In the book, it's kind of interesting because like I think James blindfolds her and then he like throws a punch at her face and then stops to see if she'll flinch. And then she does it, and then she doesn't, and that's how he knows that the blindfold's good. So and then they leave her on a beach and they take off. So and that's the first robbery. We cut to the cops and the FBI go over the crime scene. We got FBI agent Adam Frawley, played by John Hamm, and a local police guy, Dino Ciampa, played by Titus Welliver. So,
of Bosch fame.
Yep.
And just a generally cool-looking guy.
Yeah. I mean, this is like 10 years before Bosch, and he still looks like the same guy in Bosch. So
yeah. He's like 63 now. He looks the same. In Bosch legacy. It's like he doesn't age.
Well, I mean, he probably had gray hair early on, and then just kind of kept that look. So.
Yeah.
So here they go out, like they pick up on like what the robbers know and don't know, which they basically know everything because they know to leave dye packs and tracers. The cops find their getaway van is just torched in Charlestown. Which basically that's like a safe haven for bank robbers because it's just a tradition there, I guess. So we cut to the crew meet up at an ice rink. I guess I should state that Frawley's an asshole. So
yeah.
He's essentially the bad guy of this movie. In the book, it's a bit more of like a weird like in vendetta, because like it's not played up here at all. But in the book, Frawley's like basically trying to like date Claire, but then she ends up dating Doug, and so he's kind of mad about that, and it's almost a vendetta for the rest of the book.
Interesting.
But here it's just kind of like Frawley's just an asshole.
Yeah, he seems like a climber to me.
Yeah.
Like this guy just wants to get to the next screen. That he doesn't really. He cares enough to, but he's got his eye on some kind of promotion.
Well, it's like he treats like the bank robbers and everybody he meets like an asshole, but he also treats all his fellow cops.
Yeah, he just yells at them
to
do this.
You're stupid. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a good, it doesn't make his character more interesting, but I guess it's like if you're gonna spend all this time with armed bank robbers, that makes them seem more fun by comparison. So it's a good choice. So.
Yeah.
And John Hamm's great at being an asshole. So.
Well, no one who's ever dealt with cops. It's like, well, they're all assholes all the time. It's like, no, not all the time. They just think everyone's lying to them, so they're going to act accordingly, and that's why most people they've only experienced one side of that.
Yeah, when your entire day is meeting with deceitful people, you're going to have a bad look on the rest of humanity.
Because I got to know a lot of cops through like different, firearm stuff I was into, and they're funny. They have a great sense of humor. They're also mean as shit, but they have a great sense of humor about other people and things and situations. Like they'll describe just this whole like, yeah, I had to arrest this lady, and she was obviously like a prostitute and she was a drug addict, but he'll like reconstruct her day in such a way where you're like, God, people's lives really suck. What a terrible day that leads you to the back of a police car for being a drug prostitute. But this guy's like, Yeah, it's kind of what the world's like. It's like, oh, okay.
I just get to witness it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's shoot some targets.
Rather than heroin.
Yeah, we're shooting bullets, not heroin.
The crew meet up at an ice rink. Here it's like a dilapidated ice rink where they used to play like, pee-wee hockey or whatever. Hockey's
Yeah.
very important in the book. It's less important here, but still like a thing.
Yeah, this would be like all those inner city like after school programs for kids. What was that called? Like Big Brothers Big Sisters, something like that.
Yeah, or
CA.
yeah, or what's like like the Big Brother Big Sister, yeah, or like Young Adults Club, something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, there's a name
Something
for
like
it.
that. I mean, we're children of the suburbs. We never did things like
No,
this.
no, that was usually for the underprivileged kids.
Yeah, we were like privileged.
We had parents and brothers and sisters, so that wasn't for us.
No one was a drug addict or an we weren't competing for resources with family members.
Yeah. We didn't go over to other people's houses and like, why isn't everyone yelling and screaming? Yeah. You're gonna feed me? What does this cost? It's like your existence.
You got all this food. What am I gonna have to do? It's like, sit out and eat. What are you talking
about? In the book, they go to an ice rink because the air conditioner or whatever like conditioning system is constantly running, and so it's better in case there's like somebody's trying to listen in on them.
Yeah.
So that's why they do it in the book. Here it's just a place. So they don't do that nightmare of like, yeah, let's have a loud thing and record around it and see try to fix that in post.
Yeah, and then let's take pieces of paper and fold them out and write on a hard surface only and gestures at people like this. It's like, because that's cool once, but you got to actually stop that and have dialogue at some point.
James comes back late. He's worried because like Claire's license says she lives in their neighborhood. Like I think one of them was a Glownsy or whatever his name is, the car thief guy. He's like, yeah, she lives 4 blocks from me. So it's like, oh, she's gonna know who we are. It's like, nothing. If you don't know who she is, yeah, I don't understand it. They've been casing her, so they know where she lives. So I don't know why this is a problem, but whatever.
I don't think they knew where she lived. I think they knew her function at the bank. But they did that criminal thing where they take your driver's license and like, hey, if you go to the cops, I know where you live.
Yeah.
And they looked at the driver's license like, shit, I know exactly where she lives.
Yeah, but no, like, because later on, Doug says he's been trailing her. So that means like he followed her home.
Oh, I thought the trailing happened after the bank robbery. Okay, I was mistaken.
No, they're also trailing her after the bank robbery to make sure like she doesn't talk or whatever, or make sure she doesn't know anything, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This seems new to them. It's new to the audience, so whatever. We have no comparison. So.
Oh, you want to do something. You want to not waste. You want to spend 20 minutes of your life doing something interesting. It's called "The Town Is Fake." It's a YouTube video because they talk about the baseball game they're reconnoitering, and of course, you got baseball stat psychopaths.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the game they're watching and the information is incorrect, and the kind of series they said they were in is not that. Like that didn't happen at that time. All this information wrong. I thought it was a deep dive into the movie. No, it was just a deep dive into the Fenway Park scene and why all the players and names wrong. And at first I was like, this sucks. But then I watched the whole thing and I actually gave it a like. I was like, you put a lot of effort into this. Crazy, but okay.
This isn't necessary to the movie, but I appreciate the effort.
I love the minutia. It's like, man, that's right, because baseball and all sports are just statistics, numbers, places, and times. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you can really dissect a story.
Oh, and way. Baseball is like the worst of that, or the best, whatever you want, because it's been. I mean, it's not the longest sport, but it's like it might be the most stat-driven sport since its existence, and it's only got worse. I watched
baseball, and I came away with a dark understanding of is this really sports anymore? It's like,
yeah, because they made recent rules changes to baseball because baseball has basically been solved.
Yeah,
like you get enough data on a guy, it's like, yeah, throw the ball here because he can't hit it. And if he does, it's going to be hit here, and we're just going to put extra guys there, and then they're going to catch the baseball. Is this even a fucking sport anymore?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's why they use like chess as a baseline for like logic training, because there's more potential moves in chess than I forget. So it's an insane number. It's
Yeah,
like actually computers can't like even they couldn't play all the games before every move they made. It would be impossible.
yeah.
But that's why it's like a baseline logic game that they always use, because everything else it's like, yeah, you figure out a few numbers, you got it, baby. It's done. Chess is not like that because you can just the potential. It's not an infinite amount of outcomes, but it's close enough that you can use it as a good baseline. But yeah, all these, especially these old sports where it's like not running continuous moving plays, it's like, yeah, golf's the same way. It's like, well, we know who's going to win statistically. The only thing that could happen is he, blows his ACL, or he tears his arm, or he has affairs with 900 waitresses. Those random factors we can't control. But yeah, we know pretty much who's going to win golf and cricket and baseball. It's the continuing maneuver games like basketball, football, soccer. Those are because so many things can happen. It's
Yeah.
like, wait.
Well, even though I watched the Pacers Knicks game, and there was a point like the Pacers were down by like 20 points, and so they were just trying to see what they could do to get back in the game, and like they had the Knicks had a center in who was very bad at shooting. He's a good defender, but he can't shoot free throws. And they were just intentionally fouling him and sending him to the free throw line where he'd miss both free throws.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess in college basketball, like if you intentionally foul someone like that, they get 2 shots and the ball back. So they've regulated that out of college ball, but they keep it in the pros. But then like after the next play stoppage, they subbed him out and put a center in with better shooting statistics. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that does happen. That's why the last minute of an NBA game will take half an hour to play out, because it's just free throws shooting for the next 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. Sometimes it thinks that should be the only skill they work on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a new phrase I've heard, and I don't know how long it's been around because I haven't really watched basketball until like last year and this year. I used to religiously watch it. And I was a Pacers fan, so that's nice now. It's like, oh, okay, they're good again. And they're a very fun team. And so yeah, so there's a lot of flopping and getting calls. You're going your way, and I guess a term for that now is free throw merchant.
Okay, nice. I like that.
And like crowds chanted at people while they're at the free throw line. So, which I don't know if that's like how that would really intimidate. I remember.
I know that with the Lions, like they really paid attention, especially in Ford Field. Like the fans were known to, like, people had developed strategies. It is so loud. Other people did say it's actually jarring to go to Ford Field,
Yeah.
because fans they do it in such a way where you can't. It's just like noise. It's not like everyone's screaming at once. It's kind of layered.
Yeah.
It's like you cannot communicate.
You know, Nathan. It's like the what is that? The blast. What do you call that? The blast lens of a of a nuclear atomic bomb. It's like that, but with a sound wave.
Close ones. Yeah.
Where like it rebounds and makes it even like stronger. So.
Yeah. Oh, you mean lensing the explosive force? Yeah. Around the valley. Yeah. Because I know this year, because the Lions went so far, and they've had a couple good seasons. The other people on other teams did talk about, like, yeah, that shit they do at Ford. Actually, they were complaining like, you should make them stop. It's like, well, okay, good luck. I don't know how we're supposed to fire guns into the crowd. That's not going to stop.
But I remember like when I played, just high school sports, like, yeah, people would like, I never had to shoot. I know I can't remember. I don't think I've ever had to shoot with a crowd behind the backboard.
Mm-hmm.
But I've shot free throws with just like people yelling terrible things at me, and I just blocked it all out because I'm just concentrating on shooting free throws. Like I never hear any of that shit. So. And then people.
My son told me like what being on the football field was like. you know, the times he went on, and he said, I couldn't believe the stuff people were saying. Because it was horrendous. That's why they played it was a school. I forget. It was like a school in Detroit, but it was like a private school. And they said that he said the kid, everyone was really nice. Like they'd run plays and stuff, and then the kids would like help you out and be like, "Are you all right?" And everyone was like, "What's wrong with these guys?" Supposed to be calling me, saying horrible things to me right
But
now.
I love playing basketball, so like I was locked in. I never heard any of that stuff until like I was like was sitting the bench, and then you like can't help but hear it because you're not playing. It's like, oh wow, these people are awful.
Oh yeah, he was telling me like any play you're running on either side of the ball, it's like I mean, as soon as you run it, because you're standing there with the guys, and if they're far enough away from the coaches and the refs, they're going to say horrible things. And then you go into block or defend, and these guys are like yelling at the top of their holding. He's holding me. Everyone's just trying to distract the refs, and it's just constant.
I just meant the crowd yelling at the players.
Oh yeah, that'll happen too. I have never seen anything thrown onto the field in a high school game.
Although I could probably be easily distracted in baseball because I hated baseball. So.
Yeah.
Frowley interviews Claire. Like this is a bit more detailed in the book because this is where it's like Frowley's more of a creep because he like explains how like after intense situations like this that women like to like be closer with like police officers and stuff like that to feel safe. And so I was like, oh, is he just taking advantage of witnesses and sleeping with them? Which he never does in the book, but it's intimated that that's what he does. So, which I feel like that would taint your investigation if you're sleeping with witness.
You're a very manipulative person, even if you're not actually doing that, but you are an authority, especially an FBI agent and an authority figure. And just to even imply that, because you know what you're doing, you're a smart guy. It's like that's terrible to even if you don't act on it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I want you to know I'm here because you're just a little woman.
Yeah.
And you need me to protect you. So if you feel like, we could do that or not, whatever. Hey, it's up to you. It's always your choice. I'm not pushing the issue. Those kind of psychopaths, yeah.
Yeah. Which he's Frowley's just manipulative.
Yeah.
Which I don't think at this point he's suspicious of her. He just has to be suspicious of everybody. So
yeah.
It's when he figures out like, wait, you're dating the guy that robbed your bank? Like, do you know that's what's going on? No, she didn't. So, but he's still mad at her for it.
Well, he's also implying it's like, yeah, you got to prove that, and good luck. Go to prison for 10 years just for what you've done. But think about how nightmarish it is that from his point of view, though. Like when that much money goes missing, like everyone could be involved at every level.
Yeah.
Because there's no incentive for them not to be. It's that the only thing they're worried about is getting caught.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you have to prove that they did it. So yeah, all you have to be just a psycho with everybody.
Yeah, and it's his job. like a the FDIC, like yeah. Which, yeah, here, like, I don't know how much money I don't think they give a number how much money they stole, but, like, they robbed a bank vault. Like, it's got to be a lot of money. So.
Yeah, we never get figures here. But we kind of guess because each guy gets 90,000 after split. So you can sort of guess, but we don't know what Fergie's cut is.
Yeah.
Fergie's could be 70%.
Yeah. I think in the book they say it's 10%, but who knows? So.
I'd be a lot more than that because somebody's supplying these people with fully automatic weapons and stuff, which, contrary to popular belief, are not readily available in any gun store. No. So it's especially some of the weapons they use in this movie. It's like that shit would barely be in militaries. It's like crazy.
But yeah, I mean, the feeling is like the score they got off this should set you for life, but it doesn't. Yeah. This just gets them through the next month, which is like, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's never implied that these guys have habits. As a matter of fact, Doug is like on sobriety now.
Yeah.
So it's never implied that these guys have special habits beyond like low-level alcoholism or whatever. but no one's like feeding a heroin or a. Now, what's the other thing that comes up a lot in this? The old painkiller. Oh,
Oxycontin. Yeah.
oxys are everywhere. That definitely dates this because God, we wish those were everywhere now. Now it's like fentanyl.
Well, yeah, in the book, yeah, he's a recovering alcoholic, because I believe that's. I'm not sure if that's the reason he got. Like, I don't think he got kicked out the hockey team for the alcoholic. I think he did something that got him put in jail for being an alcoholic or whatever.
Okay.
Because I forget what put him in jail in this movie, but it wasn't the hockey incident, I don't think. That just got him kicked out of hockey. So
Yeah.
Because even in this movie, he says he had 2 chances and he screwed both of them up. So I forget what he went to jail, but he's been to jail in this movie, or prison. And then like James has been to prison twice. Once for manslaughter, but he was like underage, and he still got sent to prison or something like that.
I'm not sure how that works, because he said he went to prison for manslaughter, and then the event they described later was like that's straight up premeditated murder. Maybe they couldn't prove.
Okay.
Or it's like, or they don't care. Let these poor people kill each other.
Well, I thought it was like he was so young that they didn't give him like life in prison because he was like 17 or something like that. But they still gave him like 9 years in prison.
That could be. Also, what they can prove too.
Yeah.
If you're being shown like, well, this is his memory of what really happened. God knows what he lied to the. He's like, oh, it's. No, it's. I've worked with guys that have killed people, and it's like, what happened? It's like, well, now it's like, that's just murder. It's like, okay. It's like, yeah, but you don't say anything to the cops. It's like, let them figure it out. They don't know what's going on. He goes, now they got them cameras, though. You got to watch out. I was like, well, I'll remember that. Thank you.
But in the book, he's recovering alcoholic, and so he just stays away from like parties and all that stuff. So he seemed like a wet blanket to the other guys. Like, come on, just hang out. Where here, it's like never a thing. Like he's in a bar and he's just drinking non-alcoholic drinks, and so he's still like, he's still like facing his demons. But then when Krista talks to him, he learned that he also had like a habit with like oxycontins because he was a hockey player. He was constantly injured. So
yeah, but the professional athletes that become drug addicts, I'm a lot more sympathetic to them.
Yeah,
because they were just in massive pain all the time and always pressed to push themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I'll just take 2 oxys and I can get out there. And it's like, no, you're still damaged. It's not getting the report anymore from your brain. So, yeah.
We cut to James wants to intimidate Claire, or worse, like implying he's going to kill her, which Doug's like warns against that because he's got 2 strikes in him already. So he's going to get life in prison. That's how it works, right? Like on your 3rd sentence, you just get life in prison or whatever.
I know it used to be that way. I think they did away with that.
Okay. Or it could be a state by state thing.
Very violent.
Yeah.
Like if it's rape, murder, yeah, you're done. But if it's like, there used to be like drug dealing, that was 1 strike, and I think they eliminated all that. But because I know in Michigan, you have to be a violent offender.
Yeah.
Like, or be like find you with a pound of heroin or something like. Because anyone else, they basically pushed everyone out that was a. Because what did they say here? Now they've changed, like using drugs are a crime against yourself. Yeah. That's not, selling drugs is a little more destructive, but but the real stuff they want are the stabbings, the shootings, the rapings. It's like those guys go to prison forever, but they don't have the drug people around here because they haven't quite made drugs legal in all aspects. They certainly don't do a lot of enforcement anymore. I can tell you that.
Again, state by state.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not every state's like Michigan. And some of the weed they grow here would absolutely make your head explode. It's like, this isn't weed. I don't know what this is now, but this is like you're going into it's like, is this how Donnie Darko makes sense? Am I in a pocket universe now or something? It doesn't seem like weed.
Well, didn't Texas just make hemp illegal? I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan's going to be just fine.
I don't understand those. I mean, you can't look at pornography on the internet in Texas. It's like, yeah, I'm glad I can shoot guns out of my truck there, but like I don't need all this other nonsense either. All you can do in Texas is shoot people. Everything else is illegal.
I believe in the book nobody's ever killed anybody. So the suggestion, like, hey, like we might have to take care of her, is more laughable because it's like we're not assassins, you idiots.
Yeah. Guns at people to scare them, which is never a great plan, but you're not actually trying to murder
But
people.
when we get in this movie, when we get the rest of James' story, it's like, well, he's kind of an assassin, so I don't know.
No, the Jeremy Renner character, the Jim character in this movie he did an amazing job with that character because he's sympathetic and scary at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like he is clearly the worst of them. He also has this odd loyalty
Yeah.
that makes him kind of safe in a way
Yeah.
to certain people. But he's a guy, he's like up for anything. It's like, yeah, we're gonna have to kill him. It's like, oh, dude, hold on. Wait a minute. It's like, well, hey, look, it's A to B here. We don't need to. We can, don't need to moralize about it.
We cut to James and Doug go meet Fergie to give him a cut of the score, I think.
Yes.
In the book, he's just kind of he's kind of mentioned in the background, and then they end up like basically like like in Heat where they buy the heist plan from the Tom Noonan character. That's what they do in the book. Is that they need they need a last job, and so they buy the job from Fergie, and then like they're able to get some support that way. But it's all intended to be like this is gonna be a last job. Or here it's more of like a, they have to deal with them all the time. Whereas like in the book they avoid him at all costs. Like they give him a cut just so that they never have to actually work for him. So it's like we're operating your neighborhood. Here's your tax. So.
And this is one of my favorite character actors. I've talked about this guy because he is his name's Pete Postlethwaite. He's a very unique looking guy who has great dialogue delivery. And I loved him. He's been in movies from In the Name of the Father to the Romeo and Juliet movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Probably most famously known, The Usual Suspects.
Okay, yeah.
He played a guy named Kobayashi. He was not Japanese, but it was like, oh, this is kind of cool in a way. He was also in.
I mean, Kaiser Soze wasn't German either.
Yeah, he was in Last of the Mohicans. He's always played he's always a side character.
He's like a British guy with the biggest nose you've ever seen.
Yeah, and he was actively dying when this
is like
next movie were filmed.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this isn't his. This is one of his last two roles, but I don't know when either was filmed. So this could have been his last known alive, for all I know. So I don't know.
Well, he was actively dying of pancreatic cancer in 2009. They said, we can retard this, but we can't stop it.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm just going to keep acting.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the time of The Town, he probably weighed like 95 pounds. He was really not looking good, but he's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep acting. And he's a cool looking guy who does great dialogue.
Yeah.
You always know who he is. He died in 2011, so it's been a long time, but
then we have like a kind of like a montage, and Frowley kind of goes over money laundering and tactics, where basically they have to take this money, go like lose or gain money at a casino, so then they get clean money back, or go to a casino, go to like a dog track or whatever is going on, horse races, all that stuff. They also talk about like buying drugs with it and then flipping the drugs for money, so that's the whole thing. They don't get this is all you get of that.
it's not close on details because it's like that's still dirty money.
Yeah,
it's not unless you're a very good gambler. I mean, I could see you like, hey, give me all these chips, and then go sit in the bathroom with all the chips for 2 hours for my money, and then they have to give you a receipt. Maybe that's how that works. I don't know. I'm not a guy who's ever handled large sums of money, especially illicit ones, so I have no idea what you do. For all our federal agents out there listening.
Then we cut to the crew hang out at a bar, talk about Doug's dad not selling out his friends. That's why I think it's Doug's dad they're talking about here.
Yes.
And like how he never sold anybody out, and so that's why he's stuck in prison. Doug is sober. He's at the bar. Then Doug runs across Krista, Like I don't feel like they don't like point this out, but Krista is Jem's sister.
Yes, it's mentioned 3 times,
Okay.
but you have to pay attention. You're like,
Well,
what's the?
well, it's like I think there's like one scene that they're all in together, so it's
Yeah,
like you don't necessarily get that.
yeah. It's mainly Ben Affleck talking to Jim about. It's like, did you think the three of us were going to live together happily ever after?
Yeah.
And apparently she has a kid, which she says is Doug's, but Doug's like, it's not my kid.
Yeah.
And you don't know. I don't
No.
know.
No.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't think it
Well,
is.
yeah, she has enough
Doug,
of you know in this book in this movie she has enough of a reputation that he can easily say that. So, although it's more,
you can test that. You can go get a test. But yeah.
yeah. Well, it's even a bit more insidious in the book because at one point it's implied, like, "Hey Jim, is that kid's yours?"
Oh God.
um.
Can you imagine incest with a Boston accent?
um. I think it was close knit groups. You
Yeah, very close knit.
know.
Family
Well,
trees just become mighty oaks with
well,
no branches.
well, again, it's just like Doug brings it up as like trying to antagonize Jen.
Oh, okay.
Jen.
It's not asking. It's asking like, "Hey, fuck you." It's not like, "Hey, wait, is that your kid?" No. I see. Now, I like that one a little more.
But then later on, there's a thing where the part later on where after the car wreck, she's talking with Frowley.
Yeah.
So there, she says that her kid's retarded, but you don't know if that's just a ploy for sympathy or if that's a real thing, and if any of these are connected whatsoever.
Oh, I just thought that was her being a shitty mom. Because I've never seen. You never really see the kid to know.
No. See, like none of that. They stripped that all out of the movie, so it's
Okay, good. That's probably good because that would be terrible. They're gonna put your kid in protective services. She's a retard. It's like, well, I immediately hate this character, but that didn't happen. So.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris is played by Blake Lively, who she immediately starts antagonizing Doug, but apparently that's like their thing, or that's everybody's thing. That's just how Boston people talk to each other.
Yeah, yeah. When your taxes are that high, your only options are to break rocks and rob banks. And when everyone's on pills and booze and
she talks about like, do you want some oxys or something like that, and he like, that's where he's like, oh, he's not only sober from alcohol, he's sober from oxycontins, which I think I think they might talk about him playing hockey here. I can't remember. But then Krista and Doug go off and have sex, and no one really seems into it, and then she just leaves when it's done. So it's like,
it's the weirdest, most awkward sex scenes I've ever. Lots of breathing.
Yeah.
And people like, but the look on their faces is they look like their eyes, like they're dead in their eyes. Yeah. It's like, how do they achieve that? That's an interesting.
Well, it seems like, it seemed like Doug is more like, painkillers and booze would sound really good right now, but I guess I'll do with sex. And then Krista gets to have sex, booze, and painkillers. So maybe he's jealous of that.
She's probably not enjoying the sex because I've been drunk plenty in my life. I've never washed down a few pills with you. I can't imagine you're like too into it because I don't think you can feel anything. But I don't know. Maybe I missed out on the whole oxy train. Yeah. I guess I got into that.
So yeah, that's just kind of her character. She'll pop in and out when to be awful because that's just kind of what she does. So.
Yeah, she's a terrible person.
Yeah, but she's also that's like a product of her place, like
Well, she's what do you call those? What's the term for that? Like a self-inflicted victim, or that's not the way you say it because it's not self-inflicted wound, and their victim is a part of it, but I don't remember.
Self-sabotage or what?
No, it's like architect of your own prison. I don't know. There's a term that it's like, yes, your life sucks, but you live in Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, you have choices. Yeah. Like you don't have to live like you're not living in Appalachia where it's like it's either this or grow meth or grow meth or harvest meth or whatever you do with it. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
like these people are imprisoned by strange self-imposed class structures and concepts of like
Well, it seems like she had this kid because she was hoping that she'd now be attached to somebody, and then that didn't
Yeah.
happen. Like this is a very like, what was the shock TV guy back then? Jerry. Uh,
Jerry Springer.
yeah, Jerry Springer. She's a very Jerry Springer character. So it's like I thought
That's
of
what he needs.
yeah,
They're just throwing chairs at each other
yeah.
on. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she has a kid she doesn't want, hoping that would lock her into some relationship or some stability in her life, and then that didn't work. So now she has a kid she doesn't care for, but she's still going to use it as a bargaining chip. So,
Yeah. These are awful. I mean, it's just awful lives.
um, but also, she doesn't know anything better, so it's like, because like I mean, like I don't know, I was trying to think about the other day because I was trying to think about like actually the Claire character in this movie gets short shrift because it's like Krista has like hopes and goals. Like she wants to get out of here, but she just has no idea how to do it. Um, she's just used to being around people that like have plans, and it's like, well, I'll just be around them until it goes my way, and then it doesn't. Whereas like with Claire, like she's just like she was a bank manager. It got robbed. She had a brother who died. She tends garden and she works at the community center. Like this, she's not really a character.
Yeah, she seems like just a lost sheep.
Yeah, but even that's not necessarily explored. Because well, at least in the book they explain that like her dad is in finance and like she had opportunity to move up into finance, but she didn't because that wasn't what she wanted to do. But even then, she didn't have a goal. She just knew like not finance. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So I'll be a bank manager instead at 29. Seems like you have options. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that being the end of Act 1, we got Act 2. Doug works out in the morning, or he's doing like, is he doing like sledgehammer stuff? Yeah, he's doing pull-ups and stuff. Like Ben Affleck got into like superhero shape for this movie, and then he would go on to play Batman. So
It worked out.
yeah, I did. The Accountant I think was like 5 years later. So this was kind of like Ben Affleck's action movie phase. So
Yeah.
and the sequel to The Accountant came out this year. So yeah, he's still working on that. So. There's like a voiceover of people of Charlestown, and then you learn that like it's an AA meeting, and so we have like it's kind of a montage, and then Doug walks into the AA meeting, where guys like, I'm not sure if he's given a real story or if it's like a like an allegory about like you need an Eskimo or something like that. Like sometimes you don't need God, you just need a guide or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if these are real people or what. I doubt it is because that would make the whole anonymous thing not work. So
It's very, you hear things like that in AA
yeah,
because the purpose of AA is for, I mean, it's to stay sober, and really like they don't have pills to keep you sober. I mean, they say they do, but they don't.
yeah,
But really, it's the power of conversation.
yeah,
And it's like, and sometimes if you really look into it, it's like it doesn't matter if the stories are true or not. It's do they keep people sober?
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
And it's like, so yeah, when you listen to AA guys, and trust me, I've never been to an AA meeting because I don't believe in quitting, but I've worked on assembly lines with people that were, and you will hear these stories, and it's like your life sounds fascinating. I don't know if it's true or not, but you have learned a craft
yeah,
of bard storytelling that I enjoy. It's like, please tell me more. I always like to collect people's stories. It's like, tell me what's going on. Tell me about sovereign citizenship. Absolutely. I want to hear all about it. Not because I care about it, because it's like I want to know this world you've constructed for yourself. It seems really interesting to me.
but also just like a sense of community helps with stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um,
It's kind of sad because really the reality is like if you had good quality friends, you probably wouldn't have just become a degenerate alcoholic
Yeah.
that like got drunk, because most of these people wind up in these things because they were drinking and driving,
yeah,
and you're lucky if they didn't kill anyone. Like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, if you had decent friends and not people that were just bound together by your substance abuse, it probably wouldn't have ended this. So now you have friends, and
But this is kind of like this is the it for the old Doug's alcoholism, and then it's not a thing for the rest of the movie.
No, it just kind of addresses that he's a guy. He's what do they call that? Working the program,
Yeah,
and he seems to have a lot of self control because he can be in a bar.
yeah,
Like, I know guys that like I can't even be near open bottles of booze. I'll lose my mind. Like,
yeah. Which
wow.
that's how the character is in the book.
Okay.
They even
That's
they even
I've met people like that.
they even have the cliche thing where when they go to the last heist, that he goes into a grocery store and buys a 6-pack of beer and they all pop one. So,
Yeah.
so it's very cliche, but yeah. Doug tails Claire to a laundromat. He goes inside and sits down and reads a paper. But, doesn't have any laundry. Just like, this laundromat has like energy drinks and stuff for sale and stuff like that. So I don't know if he can just hang out here. Claire comes up and asks him if he has any change because she says the change machine isn't working. He says no, and then she sees blood on her shirt from the like bank assistant manager that got busted in the face.
Yeah.
And then she starts getting emotional and she has some flashbacks here. And then Doug comforts her, and then he asks her out for a drink. He doesn't. He has a great line. I don't think this is in the book. This seems like a pure like Ben Affleck improv. He says he likes to have a good cry at a nail salon. So,
I like that line.
now it's kind of like that's kind of like the weird thing with Ben Affleck is he can't help being Ben Affleck sometimes. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't think that line is from the Doug character. I think that's a line for Ben Affleck during shooting the movie The Town. So it's a lot like the first season of Orville where Seth MacFarlane couldn't help but being Seth MacFarlane man at a time and not the captain of a starship. So then we cut to, but I mean, this is the crux of the movie. Guy robs a bank and then like ends up dating a woman he made emotionally distressed as they kidnapped her, which is a new thing for them. They've never done that before. And it turns out they didn't need to do it anyways. So they didn't need to hit that guy. They didn't need to kidnap her. Like they could have just got the money and ran out. So.
Yeah, it seems a little out of control.
We cut to the FBI raid a guy's house like really hard. Like they're just knocking people over and like,
Oh yeah, this amounts to assault.
Yes.
Like they're just doing things.
Is that shotgun that Frowley has? Did he bring that, or did he just like find that and start beating the guy with it?
I think he brought it because he seems to have.
Oh, he has it at the end of the movie. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he have a special shotgun, Nathan? Did you look that up?
No, it's Remington 870.
Okay, all right. So
the cop shotgun.
Okay, it's like almost every shotgun we see.
Yes. Nope, sorry.
Frowley's trying to get this guy to turn on someone. I think this is where they get the clue that. What clue do they get from? Is this where they get the clue to like the Verizon thing or something like that or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to look at the one guy that worked at the security company, and so they got his name, and then they like correlated his days off with robberies and
with multiple robberies.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I think Doug is talking to. Oh wait, no. Doug picks up Claire for their date. She immediately goes over the bank robbery with Doug while he's sitting in the car or the truck. And Doug learns that the FBI is on the job, which he tries to hide it, but like, I'm not sure if Ben Affleck acts his way out of this bag. I don't know. So, I like Ben Affleck. He's not the greatest actor, but he does fine. He's a smart guy. He seems to be a good director. Not the greatest actor, but he's still something about him. So I don't know. He seems to make it work despite.
Well, he's one of those guys where he's always him.
Yeah.
He doesn't lose himself in the role. It's like that's.
Well, he tries.
Yeah. It's hard to do. I mean.
I mean, you know what Ben Affleck sounds like, and then you watch him in like Good Will Hunting, and you're like, this guy's doing a terrible Boston accent. And it's like, well, he's from Boston, so I don't know what the problem is. Is it me or is it Ben Affleck? Because he also puts on like a Boston accent for like almost for kicks in this movie, even though he's supposed to be like there's different forms of it where he like turns it up more.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like the more angry he gets, the more ridiculous it
yes,
becomes.
yes. Which I don't know if it's intentional to try to like disguise himself, because like I don't know, would that be a thing? Would that be a thing to think of? Like just like have a fake accent when you do a robbery so no one can identify your
Oh
voice.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Just start talking in bad British accents.
There's actually places you can go online that will tell you, like they'll tell you it's like say words this way for a good like generic British accent, and you listen to them and then you do it and you're like, holy crap. Or it doesn't work perfectly because you still got to work on your pitch and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like it is hilarious. It's like I could pull that off if someone didn't know me. Like if they didn't know who I was, I could probably, I always thought it was cool. Like in that it wasn't a great movie, but that Val Kilmer, remember The Saint,
yeah,
always had a different accent and a different persona for everyone he met.
yeah,
It's like that would actually be cool to do, but if only if people didn't know you.
yeah.
But he had it down like perfect. Like he was working with people and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I have my fake British accent that I could do for that's basically Jason Statham from Snatch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for some comedy thing I was writing, but I have the line. It's about basically a bank robbery, so I guess I can do it here.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So the line goes like, "Look, this shop's gonna pull 20K easy. I want you to tell me right now, job you got lined up is gonna be $20,000 in one day."
Yeah.
That's my British accent. Now, if I can say other lines, I don't know, but I can say those three sentences like
No,
that.
you got to have like a battery of things to say that you just casually talk to people and then go away.
Yeah,
You're like, yeah, that British guy said that. It's like, what British?
yeah.
Because like that guy there, and you come up and it's like, hey, you know that guy? No, I've never met.
um, let's see here. Oh yeah, then we cut to their date where they're like eating like mussels or something like that, and that's about it. there's a lot of there's a lot of very quick scenes with Doug and Claire, which I think is supposed to like get at that like this is their relationship developing over a longer period of time, but it gets kind of abrupt as the movie goes on as we have like our fifth scene with Claire on our seventh day. So it's
And it's less than 45 seconds.
yeah,
Or,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this movie there is a compression element to this movie where because I watched it, I didn't scrub watch it.
Yeah.
I actually watched because sometimes if it's something I've seen 20 times, it's like I'll scrub through this. But this movie was not. I'd seen it once before, so I watched the whole thing, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not scrubbing this. Why does this seem? Did
Yeah.
I miss something?
Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't. I clearly understand what's going on, why they're doing this, but it seems like, yeah, there's a lot of compression going on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I listened to the book at 2 times speed, so
Yeah.
it was a 16-hour book that got turned into an 8-hour book. So. Let's see here. The next day, James and Doug meet. James is wondering if he needs to kill someone. Doug isn't amused by the implication. They're not killers, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we kind of had that. This scene kind of pops up a lot. I just described the same scene already, so I guess this is a different scene with basically the same thing. Because that's why Doug like basically volunteered to follow Claire because he didn't want James to kill her for no reason. So.
Yeah.
And then he just accidentally falls in love with her. And then we see Frowley found out that communications were tapped. It's a clue. This is like Verizon or something else. So like they know like, all right, let's look for people that worked there and did things, because this is how they know that the silent alarm went off, because they tapped into it. Which Verizon is basically just supposed to be Verizon, so or just some communication stuff or whatever. Which that's a similar thing in the book. That's how that happens. We cut to Doug tries to manipulate Claire to not immediately sell out like a guy in the crew because she's like, yeah, I didn't tell the FBI about a fighting Irish tattoo that's on James. And then Doug is basically goes out like, hey, here's what, hey, hold on to that card, you might need it later on. So, and then like he gets really specific, and then she's kind of like weirded out by that. So it's like, why do you know these things? It's like, oh, I watched CSI, which is where basically where Ben Affleck comes out. So it's like, let's make a joke about this. Um, but yeah, it is kind of this fun where he has to live in two worlds thing of like, hey, I'm just a blue collar guy, not a bank robber that robbed you. So, then we have maybe the most famous scene from this movie, and I believe it's not in the book at all.
Okay.
This is a meme. This is where Ben Affleck comes up to Jane. Oh, well, this is where, well, previously, like on the date with Claire and Doug, she mentions that her Prius got like tagged, like graffiti tagged, and then like mentions like her Prius being vandalized by hooligans. Cut to, uh, Doug goes up to James and says, I need your help. I can't tell you what it is, and you can never ask about it later, and we're going to hurt some people. And then he just goes, whose car are we taking? So,
Again.
which that makes this character like likable and awful at the same time. So.
Well, again, it's kind of his scary and endearing loyalty.
Yeah.
Like this guy's a psycho, but it's like he could be my psycho. Like, I could trust this guy.
But yeah, this scene is like in memes all over the place. So this pretty much is the scene from this movie. So, and I'm pretty sure it's not in the book. So yeah, good job on you. So.
Yeah.
They grab some masks. These are more like hockey masks and a sledgehammer. They bust down a door. Like he even has like a collapsible baton, and they hold it up to the peephole on there. I forget what they're saying, but the guy pops the door open, so it's just the chain, and then Doug hits it with a sledgehammer and breaks the chain, and they just go in there and beat him up. Doug wants to leave, and then James stays and pulls a gun and wants to know what the guy did. And then he puts 2 bullets in the guy's leg, where it's like, okay. And he shows him his face because like they're both criminals, so he's like, hey, I know your face and you know mine, so you better not tell on me because I'll kill you. So,
Yeah. It was actually kind of cool. It's like, I'm going to take the mask off. It's like, now you know what I look like. What you look like. So if you see this face again, it'll be the last thing. Well, that's crazy. Yeah. It's like, you always want to be that guy, but never in real life to those.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw it to a different extent, a more horrifying extent in Manhunter, so it was the same kind of thing. So he's like, closed eyes, like, I don't want to see your face, man. If I know things, then I'm dead. So, the FBI follow up on the Viacom lead. This leads to Desmond, because this is where they line up that. Well, they're talking about like the rock breaking job, like they can hide those days because like know, but like they say like the Viacom is like a publicly traded company, so they have to like have more records that like they have to distribute to the public or whatever, and so like they see that his sick days line up with robberies, and it's like, well, of course this guy's robbing banks. So.
Yeah.
We cut to Claire and Doug hang out at her. Well, I wrote her garden. In the book, she just has a garden. This is like a community garden, right?
It's some kind of community. Like we're gonna they have these in Detroit. It's like we're gonna teach people to grow food.
Yeah,
they can come here every day and learn about what do they call that, horticulture, whatever growing food is. Like you can grow your own tomatoes and go home and cook them.
Yeah.
They have those. They're actually kind of cool.
So she gets Doug to talk about his mom, which leads to a story about his mom leaving and his dad crying, which I don't think almost none of this mom stuff is as important or that pervasive in the book. So this is like something new for here.
So this was something amplified for the movie.
Yes.
I guess everyone has a mom, so it's relatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it makes it extra sad because I think in the book, I think there's 2 mom things, if I'm remembering it correctly, and I'm probably not. So it's like, yeah, his mom left, and she was probably a drug addict, and then she just disappeared. And I don't think the revelation of, I don't think the revelation comes out like it does here. I think it's just like, well, she's just gone. I might have missed something. Like the last 2 hours of that book I was listening to was distracted, so I might have missed something.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is that like basically he ends up in foster homes when his dad goes to prison, and then he basically ends up, and then he floats around there, but he ends up with James and his parents, or just his mom, and his mom just basically like slowly dies of diabetes, like as they describe in the book, one piece at a time. Like they're just like,
Oh, okay.
and so like yeah, it's basically like he lost two moms in the book, but then it's not like a further plot development where he needs revenge and stuff like that. So that's new for this movie. So, but I guess it makes it more immediate. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
they set up this thing where it's like, oh, what a sad thing, and then like it even made his dad, who's supposed to be this burly man of the '80s or whatever, he was crying to like an uncomfortable extent, and then he goes out and does sad things like put up missing posters for his mom, and like this is Charleston, everybody knows everybody, but nobody told him what actually happened. And then he just he has the story of what he thinks happened. He has his dad trying to soften the blow of what actually happened, so his dad never tells him the truth anyways, because even when later on in this movie, like his dad says she just went away, so even he doesn't reveal the truth. So even then, even the truth that's ultimately revealed is suspect, because if everybody knows everybody here, but everybody decides to lie to Doug about this, so because they know it's too sad to tell the truth or something. Anyways, yeah, so this becomes a little therapy session between Claire and Doug, and so this kind of like more solidifies the relationship. Like but they don't play up in here. What they play up in the book is like Doug's kind of first reveal is like, I'm an alcoholic. It seems like he's about to reveal like, I robbed your bank, but it's like, no, I'm an alcoholic. That's why things are weird. It's like, well, no, there's another thing. So
Yeah. Runs a little deeper.
Then we cut to there's a crew block party, and we have like the FBI staking them out. There's where we see Krista and her kid. And then like everybody's there. It's like I forget. Yeah, the car rubber guy's like Glonsey, I think that's his name. And there's Desmond, which we really don't get much of those characters. I think one of them is gay in the book, but that never is a thing here. And,
okay.
And one of them gets married. Like they use the cover for one of their bank robberies. Is like, why would this guy rob a bank a day after he got married? That's exactly what they did. So.
Interesting thing to tell your wife. I'm not going to be available for our honeymoon. Why? It's yeah,
Yeah, this is where also they say that Doug served time for manslaughter, which like I said, I think he shot somebody when he was 17, which why do you have a gun when you're 17? But this is still like presumably would be like the 90s, and the Irish mob would still be a thing here, so they just what happened. Yeah. I'm not sure what crime he would be in. Like, are they like? I doubt like Doug and James are like robbing armored cars at this time. So are they slinging drugs, or what crime are they getting up to like in their teens?
I'm not sure.
Well, I guess Doug would kind of be busy playing hockey. I don't know. Yeah. Because I can't remember, like, why does that guy want to go kill Doug?
It's never explained.
Okay, good. Okay.
I
thought I missed something, but apparently they just never said.
Because I was thinking the same thing. It's like, wait a minute, this guy was a budding hockey player.
Yeah.
Why is somebody, because I forget the dialogue Jim used, like, he's like, he was going to roll up on you with a Glock 21 or something. Yeah. It's like, why? But maybe it's because he was an asshole. And that, because, these people in their honor culture, like poor people, all they have left is their honor.
Yeah.
So they're immediately going to blow holes in somebody and ruin their life.
Or I thought it was going to be something like he was betting on like minor league hockey and then he cost him like a payday or something like that. So
that could be.
Then they talk about the florist and how like Doug's dad worked bank jobs for the florist. Doug was a hockey prospect, but he got kicked out for fighting his own teammate. Which I think in the book he has like a slash in his eyebrow where like
Yeah.
the guy like fought back with like kicked him in the face with a skate.
Oh, yeah, that do it.
But then he beat the shit out of that guy and something with a nail gun. I can't remember. There's something with a nail gun, but I forget the specifics of it. I don't know if he took a nail gun to like this hockey player, but I'm like, why is there a nail gun in a hockey practice? So I think that's just a different incident.
That seems like it'd be a bad thing to leave lying around. Just to have a framing nailer sitting around.
So
What could go wrong?
I think the nail gun incident is like the thing that sends him to prison. Or did you pick up on what sent Doug to prison?
I thought it was drinking and driving.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But again, this movie has a compression issue where it's like, what did they say? Oh, okay, yeah, I guess maybe maybe.
And again, maybe they're just I guess I'd give Ben Affleck the benefit of the doubt that maybe he's just letting the audience figure it out rather than explicitly saying everything out loud and drawing every diagram and believing in the audience to figure it out. So, we cut to they're sitting in like a sidewalk cafe thing, and Claire tells a story of her brother dying of cancer and how it's on her mind. And she said, I forget what she says, something about sunny days, and that reminds her of her brother, and it's kind of a negative thing because it ends up being a thing later on, but I can't remember how it like necessarily correlates. Like, is sunny day supposed to be the opposite of what you mean?
Well, no, because the sunny day was her brother died, and it was very sunny and beautiful outside.
Yeah.
Whenever it's nice outside, she associates it with death.
Yeah.
So it's like that's her darkness.
Oh, okay. So she's saying, so on the phone when she say it's a sunny day, she's like, danger here.
Yes.
Okay. Claire leaves for a moment, and then James shows up. Not sure if he was tailing them intentionally or unintentionally. James says he clocked the avalanche and then stopped by. Because I'm guessing he's the only rock splitter in Charleston that has a Chevy Avalanche, or not? No, wait, is Avalanche Chevy? Or no.
Yeah, it was a Chevy product.
Okay, but it's not.
It was
It's not
just a truck that was clad in some kind of weird body stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't really a work truck, right?
No, not. I mean, you could use it that way, but it was kind of impractical.
Yeah,
because the food was sort of narrowed out from it.
Yeah, what was the thing? Yeah, it's more of like a 4-door, and it barely has a back of a truck. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was almost like those. What was that? What was that? Subaru Santa Fe or whatever? It was like almost like an El Camino.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of everything, a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. So it was basically like a, like a full size SUV with a small bed in the back of it, which that wouldn't really be great for work, but he's not actually working, so it doesn't matter. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so yeah, this is where James, like, Claire shows up and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" So it's a very fun, awkward scene as you just see everything playing out, and you see like the bit where it's like, they focus on his tattoo on the back of his neck and like, the sight lines and stuff like that. It's like, can she see it? Like, does she know what's going on? And she's just like, "Hey, I'm just meeting one of Doug's friends who I have not met yet because he's very reclusive for reasons." Yeah, and he asks her like what she does and stuff like that. And it's like, "Yeah, what do you do?" It's like, "I'm a bank manager." It's like, "That place got robbed, right?" It's like, "Oh my god." And he's the one that grabbed her, so he's also the one that beat up the assistant bank manager too. Yeah, it's just a fun, like, awkward scene, and then like Doug makes sure to, like, before James leaves, and this is where we get the thing about the Jim thing, where he kind of explains it, because he's like, "Yeah, I'm Jim." It's like, "Did you say Jim or Jim?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's both actually." It's like, the teacher used to say like, he's a real gem, that one." And so I just been calling him James throughout my notes because that's how he's first listed in Internet Movie Database. But yeah, it is a thing in his thing here and in the book that is Gem. So
Okay.
but easily heard as Jim. You know, I guess it would always be Jim. You decide what foul I'm putting in that
Yeah. It's up to you. It all sounds the same.
word.
Magic.
But Doug makes sure to like kind of do like a close kind of handshake and covers the back of his neck when he stands up so that Claire can't see the fighting Irish tattoo. Oh, they seem like guys that would like put fake tattoos on for a bank job just to throw people off.
Yeah, that's the thing about tattoos is it creates a permanent like mark. You don't ever want them. You can put fake ones on and just wash them off.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the guy's covered in tattoos. You're just a shower away from freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, then the FBI does some like water report on like on the water coming out of the shower drain, and it's determined there's plastics in there from washing off like the temporary tattoos. Yeah. You gotta get a warrant for that. No. Anyways. Because I can't remember if it cut to his or Claire just leaves, but James and Doug argue about his poor decision for an armed robber to like date the person he robbed. So
Yeah.
which is true, but that's the whole like dynamic of this movie, like of I mean, yeah, let's break that down. Is it? You think it's his like? You think it's like an Irish guilt thing? Do you think he's wanting to get out of Charlestown, and he sees her as like an avenue to get out of there? He knows he has to reveal the truth at some point. Like, is he just like in over his head, or like what's driving Doug here in this relationship?
Well, I think he finally met a decent person for once in his life.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Like I could use this fantasy to escape.
yeah,
Like I could escape with this person and never have to, and I could live a normal life like I've always wanted.
yeah. And also, Doug is worried about the next armored car robbery because, like, we got a lot of heat on us. It's like, yeah, you're an armed robber. So yeah, that's maybe something I don't understand for this movie is how quickly all these armed robberies happen, and they're all in the same place. Like, they don't like travel. Like, let's go rob a bank in Arizona and come back to Boston. It's like,
No, it's crazy. They're just pulling off these wildly destructive, insane things.
yeah,
In the middle of a fairly, mid-cap city.
yeah.
And it's like, no one's noticing this?
Although this robbery is much more interesting in the book, but it's also very specific because they rob like a mall movie theater during the opening weekend of like Twister and like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So like around Memorial Day weekend, so it's like we're right around there right now. So, and because of how the heist works, like they got a bunch of money came in and people paid their money. Like it's basically they're not robbing from a bank, so this isn't sequential or anything like that. So the money's already laundered. So this becomes a huge score because they don't have to do anything. They can just directly use the money once they've ran away with it. So that's what happens in the book. Here they just do a armored car robbery, like just in broad daylight. Which I think is fun. And I'm not sure if they mention it here in the book. They call armored cars cans.
Okay.
And there's always a thing he talks about, like, you can't break into a can. Like, the weak point is the operators. Like, the human element is always the weak point to a can. Which is just fun phrasing. So yeah, we cut to we cut to Doug goes to prison to visit his father. This is Steve, played by Chris Cooper.
Yeah, I forgot Chris Cooper was in this.
Yeah. He asks about his mom, and he said, like, I didn't look for her because there was nothing to find. So that's what he says about his mom. So, in the book, this is more of a threat kind of encounter, because it's they're letting people out to make room for like new like criminals. And so
Okay.
his dad's going to be let out like in like 3 months, and then he's already planning to like work jobs for the florist. Like he's already planning like, yeah, and we can work together, which is like for whatever reason, Doug, even though he becomes essentially exactly like his father, he wants to prove he's not his father.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, my heists are smarter, but I'm still
Yeah.
a bank robber, just like my dad. So
Yeah, I'm doing the same things you're doing, but I haven't been caught, so I feel better about myself.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, kind of like yeah, why the compulsion to rob banks for Doug? I don't know if it is like based on his father, like trying to prove himself against his father. Um, because there is some mention that like people like of like antagonizing him about that, like, hey, you're just like your father, which he hates to get that
Yeah.
comparison.
He doesn't like his dad a whole lot.
Because yeah, because he hates dad for like not looking for his mom because that's all the perspective he has about it, and then he also abandoned him by going to prison. So, um,
Yeah, so Boston basically has a metro population of 600,000 people.
okay,
So it's actually, yeah, it's fairly small. It's not tiny, but that's pretty small.
but it's, yeah, like you said, it's a dense place. So
Yeah, it's a very compressed area. So yeah, pulling off bank heists like this, it's like that's not 2 miles away from the last one.
yeah. We cut to Doug and Claire have sex, and she has a flashback in the middle of it. So
Yeah,
that's what happens. So,
yeah.
um, then we cut to the crew are gearing up for another job. They're going around looking for an armored truck, but it isn't where they expect it to be. Then they put on nun masks and get guns up. So the
This is probably the most iconic robbery in this movie.
I mean I like the first one, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, the nuns' masks look weird,
Yes, yes.
and also they're using they're using really cool looking guns, like
Yeah.
they're using like Heckler and Koch assault rifles.
Now, are they ditching the guns after every job, or is it the same guns throughout?
According to the database here, they're using different guns almost every
Okay,
time.
that's what I thought. I just
Because the
wasn't
first
sure.
bank robbery was done with almost exclusively with AK-47s,
Okay.
and then this is done with Heckler and Koch's, and then the Fenway Park one is done with a variety of weapons, all
Stuff with
kinds of
quad rails and stuff like that. So.
yeah. Well, there's AK, there's really shorty AKs, and then like a lot of oh, there's a Golly,
Okay.
and then probably the most famous ones would be like what Jim uses, like he's using like some kind of Mac 10.
Okay.
So that's the one that like has the super high rate of fire when he's chasing the FBI guy around the car.
Oh, I thought you had like a Tech 9 in that, but
Yeah, that is a Tech 9.
okay.
There's also a Mac 10 that's used.
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, so they go to the armored car. They hold up the people. They're grabbing the money out of the back. You can see like the driver in the front, and then all of a sudden the driver's gone, and like it's taking Doug hostage. And then James just shoots the guard, and they head out. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like that's a good shot. He like shot him through he shot him in the chest, standing behind Doug. So it's like, hey man, that's which I don't think he kills the guard here, but because he has
No.
a vest on,
No, he doesn't kill him.
even though
I mean, he doesn't care.
yeah,
It's only incidental that he didn't
yeah.
die.
So you must have a plate in because we all know like rifle ammo just goes right through Kevlar vests. So it's um. So yeah, they hop in the car, they run off. Like things are going bad because they usually don't fire shots in their bank robberies. They get chased by Boston police. They get cornered, and then James starts firing, and then Doug gets out and he just starts shooting because James is trying to kill the cops, and then Doug gets out of the window and starts shooting the engine block and yelling at them to shoot the engine block because it's like
Yeah,
just
we'll shoot the cops.
yeah,
Yeah.
just stop the car. We don't need to kill. We don't need to kill a cop. Then they stop in an alleyway, and this is like very congested. Like this is where I said like this feels like a car chase in Europe because like how small the roadways are there because they're just ancient cities that haven't really haven't really like, you know, we're not going to demolish this just to make wider roads, so you just got to deal with what you got. So, um, but yeah, they stop in an alley, they hop in another car, and then they torch the previous car. So, um, and so they,
Very dangerously close to a car that's full of not only spilled gasoline, but there's a few cans in the back.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's like setting off a stick of dynamite in your head. But
Yeah, they do have a cool overhead shot that they pull out as the car kind of like explodes. So,
yeah, and it does explode. It's like, yeah, that's what that would do.
um, so yeah, this just blocks off all the other cops. So because now there's a burning car in front of them, they can't get around it.
Now, this robbery is the most reminiscent of Heat on a smaller scale because they're doing kind of Heat stuff where we're like shooting through the windows
Yeah.
of the car we're driving, which would be insane. Like these guys would all be deaf.
Yeah,
But it looks good, and I've seen cops do it in like real life cop video, but they're doing it with like semi-automatic 9 millimeters.
yeah.
These guys are just like
Full
setting
auto.
weapons on the headrest next to the guy. Keep driving. It's like, yeah, that guy would have a fucking concussion.
And the sound design for the gunfire does sound like Heat, where it's like cacophonous,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and like the buildings are close, so it like, you know, that's kind of how it would sound.
Yeah, it does bounce around. I mean, I love that. That's like, I love when they get loud guns in movies. It's like that's because that's what it's like. It will actually make you'll start shaking like for a while.
And they kind of take the like throughout this movie, they kind of mimic like the music from the last heist in Heat, where it sounds like you're just hitting like a yeah, like a plastic tube that dum 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 dum
Yeah.
dum. It's got that driving beat. So
Yes, I think they definitely like we got to do a Heat homage in this. They didn't copy it, but it's the closest to that. The running gun battle in the car.
yeah,
It's just the suicide police that are just
yeah,
they're
yeah.
going to crash into you. They're gonna face fully automatic weapons with semi-automatic handguns.
And again, this is like a $37 million movie, so basically it might as well be an independent movie, and
Yeah.
they're being very ambitious with what they have. So
Oh yeah, they're using like minivans and stuff, like just cars you could buy anywhere. But as we learned from what was the show called? The American version of
Top Gear.
Top Gear, it's like, yeah, a minivan will outrun a police car. It's like actually the old Crown Vic police cars. Because remember they raced like a Chrysler minivan versus a Crown. It'll outrun them because it's actually the power to weight ratio in a
Yeah.
minivan is better because it has to pull this big van body around, so it's geared differently.
I've always been weirdly impressed with minivans, and they seem to have disappeared for SUVs. Because like minivans, like you can put a lot of cargo in it, you can haul people around, but they get relatively really good gas mileage.
Sometimes depends on what you have.
I mean, like I was mostly driving around an empty minivan, but I was getting like 30 miles per gallon on a minivan. So it's like, I can't get that with a modern car. So I don't know. I don't know what magic they're pulling, but
The problem with minivans and vans in general, but especially minivans, they were heat traps, as I understand it.
okay.
And as the rules started to tighten around emissions and stuff, and you had to keep the engine cool, it's just more economical to make an SUV.
Okay.
And not a frame on body SUV, but a unibody SUV, because it actually weighs a lot less than a minivan. And you can get the same internal volume, but you don't have the sliding side doors. Because minivans also got exemptions on collision and stuff because they were kind of a purpose-built vehicle.
Yeah.
So they had those opening, like, sliding doors on the side, which, like, these things seem huge. It's like, well, yeah, Suburban's actually that big, but it has open doors.
Yeah.
But what would I rather be in a wreck in? I'll take the Suburban every time because they're a lot safer. But they also get really crappy mileage.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see here. So yeah, they hop in a Jeep. The Jeep races for the bridge. The crew get across as the cops race to block off the bridge that they're ahead of. So like the cops, they think it feels like the cops are chasing after them, but they actually don't know to look for this vehicle. So they're not actually chasing after them here. they're just running to block off the bridge because Frowley gets notified of it. And he's like, block off the bridge.
Yeah, it's just a very impressive. It's like their wheelman has super impressive
Yeah.
skills because he's like basically running head on into dense traffic and weaving around everyone in like a Jeep.
Yeah.
Which is like those are. It's not the Jeep. It's like the Jeep Cherokee or something
Yeah.
from that era.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, those are notoriously. Also, it's like, yeah, this guy must be a really good driver because he's like,
Well, in the book, like they didn't just randomly get this car. At least I don't think so. This was a prep vehicle because in the book they prep all their vehicles.
yeah, you'd have to, yeah.
Also, like they specifically like steal them from like New Hampshire or something.
Okay.
Because there's like something like New York and other places nearby. They had like low jacks on their cars or something like that, but New
Yes.
Hampshire specifically didn't. So that's
Okay.
why they stole cars from New Hampshire because they're going to be traced. um,
Interesting. All right.
so yeah, but again, that was like 90s stuff that they're talking about, so I don't know how much it pertains. So yeah, they get across the bridge in the Jeep. They park their car. Like there's previously a scene where they just like take a bunch of hair clippings out of a barber shop and they just like douse the car with evidence of different people's hairs, essentially. Because they don't set this car on fire, nor do they pour bleach all over it. So they just leave an evidence bomb. So
Yeah.
um and then we have another great moment that I'm pretty sure this is just in the movie. As they leave, they like
One of my favorite scenes in this movie.
they look across the street and just see one cop in a cop car. And there's this awkward moment. Like he sees like they're dressed as none. He's had to heard reports of a robbery. They have
And
guns.
they have machine guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just like awkwardly stare at each other. And then the cop just looks away. And then they go about their business.
The cop has chosen to live. You can't do anything.
And they hop in like a Ford Taurus station wagon and get out of there. So
Yeah.
And then they torch that car. Then we cut to the cops show up at Doug's work and they pick him up. So here he's just we never see him swing anything at all. And in the book he says his job is he's a sky raiser.
Yeah.
Because they take down old buildings and then you can see the sky to build up new things or whatever.
Okay.
Here they just call him a rock breaker. I don't know. I guess there's also an interesting thing in the book about like I don't know if this is true, but like the community college in the area it was built in this like it was where the prison used to be, and so then they
Okay.
turned it into a community college or ripped it down and put a community college there. So there's almost like some kind of like poetic thing there. It's like hey, this is the same place as teaching. Like either go to prison to learn about more crime or you go to community college to learn stuff with criminals. So yeah, they have all the crew get picked up at their various jobs. They're being interrogated. Dino and Doug talk for a bit, which is where like we have like when Doug finally talks. He's like, it's like, basically, how does it feel like to like get to know people in your neighborhood and then betray them with what you know? So, then Frowley comes in and tries to intimidate Doug. He goes on this is a great asshole speech, and then he ends at and then like gets the end of it, like when you're begging for like to plead or whatever. I'm gonna tell you one thing: go fuck yourself. So, it's a great little bit. John Hamm pulls off because he just continues to be the asshole. So it's like basically the bad guys in the movie are Frowley and James or Jim,
Yeah.
and then they have a fight at the end of the movie. So. Frowley, we cut to it's a different scene. Frowley learns that Claire quit working at the bank, which he thinks that's suspicious. Then we cut to Claire tells Doug that she quit her bank, and then she has like a nest egg so he can fold up on. He talks about quitting his job and going somewhere away together, and then he gives her a necklace, which is supposed to be like a really expensive necklace. Which, does he say something like he sold the Avalanche to get it? I can't remember.
She suggested that, and he was like, "No, somebody just took over the payment."
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Frowley, we cut to Frowley meets Claire at her place to talk to her. He shows her like their suspect and like threatens her with being an accomplice, and this is where she finds out like Doug's a suspect, and this is basically where she puts everything together. It's like, oh, that was him. So, then we cut to James says he's got a job from the florist, and then Doug wants out and says he has this town in his rear view, and then they have an argument. And then James tries to guilt him with like Krista and her kid. Like, yeah, yeah. This is where he like retorts, like, yeah, you think we're all three of us gonna live together happily ever after? It's like we're gonna. Then Doug yells at James, and they have a fist fight, and Doug gets like knocked down. And this is where James talks about like this is the same place where he killed the guy that sent him to prison, because like that guy was gonna kill Doug for some reason. And this is where Doug gets up and he says, "You can shoot me, but you're gonna have to shoot me in the back," and he walks away. So. Cut to Doug goes to the florist to try to back out of his job. Here he just comes with a bag full of money. It's like, hey, thanks for working your town. But then the florist isn't having that and basically threatens him. This is where he talks about like he got his mom hooked on drugs, and then she like hung herself with a wire or something like that.
Yeah, it was something. It's like a junkie hanging from a wire or some statement like that.
Which I don't know if that's like she killed herself or if that was some other meaning. But Doug didn't know that apparently, so now he's like extra vengeful because he's like, well, this guy basically killed my mom because he got her hooked on drugs and then she killed herself or whatever. Which again, I don't know why his dad doesn't know that, or maybe even he was trying to, even though like when he talks to his dad, Steve like lets him down, like it's like, yeah, your mom was gone, he's never gonna find her, that's why I didn't look for her. And like that was like even a medium letdown to basically like she killed herself on drugs. Let me cut to Doug goes to Claire's house. Oh, this is also where also he threatens that he's gonna kill Claire. The florist does. Doug goes to Claire's house and finds her crying in the bathroom about to call 911. She tells him to get out, and he does. This is a very different scene in the book, because here he like in the book Doug gets, when she starts asking him things, he like immediately like, oh, she has a wire on him. So it's almost like this molestation scene where he's like looking for a wire on her.
Oh, okay.
And then like when she doesn't have a wire, he's like, like basically like he feels dirty. It's like, I didn't mean to do that. I thought I was being set up, just being careful. So, then we cut to Doug gets home and sees the funeral flowers left at his door. And then he goes back to the florist and agrees to do the job and threatens to kill them if they even think about killing Claire. So that'd be in the Act 2. We got Act 3. Doug goes to the community garden thing and dares Claire to ask him any question, and he just honestly answers her. So she's like, okay, cause she's like, how do you know? Like, how do I know you're gonna be telling the truth? And he says, because you won't like the answer. So that's a good line.
You won't like what I tell you. For a minute, I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't know what to vamp about here. So I guess I'll just go to standby screen. I forgot I have that. went to
Right in.
I just went to the standby screen. I always forget I have that, so I don't have to
Oh,
sit
okay.
here and vamp and then have you to catch you up on what I was talking about. So yeah, so she's like asked like how many jobs he's done, which he says he's like 4 armored cars and 2 banks, which seems like suspicious because like all we know this is all he does, and this seems like well, 2 of those jobs are recently, so like what do you do in the spare time? Like how much time does a bank robbery job give you? It's like is that like a year? Like you're just gonna hang out for a year? But I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But oh, what else does he say to her? It's a good scene. Like this is a good scene where you can see like she could maybe believe in him again, even though she has no compulsion to do so. Like he betrayed her, so well, I guess he didn't betray her. He just robbed her and then, then hung out with her. So
Yeah.
awkwardly so. Um, yeah, because she's like confused by the whole situation. Like, who does this? He's like, and then Doug's kind of like, well, it's like I don't know what love is, and I think this might be it. So I don't know what to tell you. So, um, I forget. Like, I'm missing something from the scene. Do you have anything else about the scene, Nathan?
Um, no, not really. I mean, he pretty much like talks to her about everything, every question she asks.
Yeah,
But she still is. She's still just like, just get away from me,
yeah.
because the FBI is gonna kill me.
But yeah,
Or
but yeah, I think he tells her like, "I'm gonna do one last job, like whether you're there or not to run away with, that's fine. Like that's like I'll accept it." Yeah, because she doesn't owe him anything. So
but she also was always deceptive with the FBI because she didn't talk about the tattoo ever.
yeah,
She's conflicted as well. It's so it's kind of interesting, like character. Like I don't like what you've done to me, but I also participated in it in a way.
yeah,
I don't know if she was dishonest because the FBI guy was a creep,
yeah.
or because she just didn't want to deal with it. I was never sure about that.
Well, also, yeah, at this point now, Frowley's more of an antagonist because he's like, why'd you just fuck the guy that robbed your bank? It's like you better get a lawyer. So that's like he threatened her more than Doug actually did, even though he had a gun pointed at her. So
Initially, it was like, yeah, only guilty people get lawyers, and then he's like, yeah, you better get a lawyer. Implication. It's like now you're guilty.
um. Then we cut to Doug and the crew get the plan from the florist. They're going to rob Fenway Park, which this is the robbery in the book. So this is like, it's of course it's the one of the most famous things in Boston. So of course you're going to do this. So, we have James and Doug scout out Fenway Park, which is just them going to a game.
Yes.
Which is probably broken down in detail by that guy.
Yes. This is where it's like all the stuff on the screens is wrong.
Then we cut to Frowley meets Krista at a bar. He introduces himself as FBI, which he just takes as a joke at first. He's basically catching her like in drug running and trying to get an advantage on her. And he tries to work her against Doug, but she doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Or she's like showing her loyalty here. It's like no, cause she like really hates Doug because he even like basically like. She feels like she devoted her life to Doug, and Doug doesn't really care about her. And, but he cares about Claire, and then she's incensed by that. Like, why would he care about another woman? Like, so, yeah, why would he care about another woman? He doesn't even care about me. So
It's not possible.
Then we cut to James and Doug talk about the future as he cleans a rifle. So I forget what they talk about here, but yeah, basically they just kind of work out like what they're gonna do, which I think this is where, because there's a whole thing about like Doug thought his mom ran off to Florida because she had a sister that like had some sort of business there, and so there's like dreams about running off to Florida. So.
Tangerine, Florida. Actually, a real place.
Okay.
Look it up.
Next scene, Krista shows up at Doug's hotel, which is like right across the street from Fenway Park. I don't know if this is a real thing or not. Probably. It's downtown Boston, so
I mean, these guys have bank robber money. They could afford those hotels if they wanted to case the
yeah.
place.
She wants to leave with Doug, but Doug's not having it. Doug grabs her at the mention of a necklace. Is like, hey, who told you? Like, this is like, it's like kind of the worst that Doug gets. Is like, hey, don't throw a woman around like that. And then he like grabs the kid, which I think the kid's name is Shine.
Right, yes, it is SHYNE according to subtitles.
Okay. He grabs the kid and he just leaves it outside.
He's always nice to it. He's like, "Come on, baby, come on,
Yeah.
girl, let's go." Or he says something like
Yeah.
that. He's, "Let's go out here. Come on, mommy's gonna come get you." Just like slams the door.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, this isn't gonna end well. So, then we see the crews getting ready. Oh yeah, this is an interesting detail. So Doug and James are dressed up as Boston police. So in the book, Glonsey, like, I forget what his day job is. It might also be construction, but he has a real side job as working like stunt car choreography for movies and films.
Oh, okay, this makes more sense.
And so specifically, these cop uniforms are uniforms he robbed from the set of Blown Away.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is described in the movie or in the book as one of the worst movies ever made.
Okay.
So maybe Boston has a problem with Blown Away. So we'll have to watch it for the podcast because I remember liking it as a kid, but I also heard bad things about it. So I don't know. Also has like one of the most amazing explosions in all film history. So
Yeah, we might have to watch this.
I know like what's his name? This guy from Texas plays like an Irish like bomber, so I know that's supposed to be like that's the only bad
Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard that's the only thing I remember that's supposed to be ridiculous about that movie is him like putting on an Irish accent and stuff like that. So he played Two-Face. Tommy Lee Jones can do weird stuff. So
Yeah, Tommy Lee played the warden in what was that? The Oliver Stone movie, Natural Born Killers.
oh yeah. Then we have like a side scene where Krista got in a car wreck and then she called for Frowley. And we cut to their inside guy lets Doug and James through the Fenway Park and like through the back area. We cut to see like Desmond enters through like a service tunnel where it's like he like opens up a grate like in the sidewalk and then crawls through some stuff. Which I like. Yeah, this is like stuff you see in cities. Like I think I've seen something like this in downtown Iowa City where they have like a floor panel in the middle of the sidewalk that's actually like the basement for a business, and like that's where they load up the alcohol and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I think those are mainly city things. Yeah.
And yeah, like I see stuff like that in like Philly and Boston and New York, so that's like old stuff, I guess. That's really like, yeah, I think I saw it was like Parking Wars, which I think it was like that's in Philadelphia, and so you have all of like these like beer vendors, like they got a double park, in Philadelphia to unload these trucks in these like sideways basement or sidewalk basement things, and then they're always getting tickets for it. It's like, what do you expect them to do?
Yeah, what are they supposed to do? We don't care. We're a corrupt, failed municipality.
Oh man, I think I watched one season of Parking Wars. It was fascinating, but I was like, yeah, I don't need more of this. So
yeah, I've seen enough of this.
You only need like a couple episodes of all those war shows. So Storage Wars was interesting until you start to see that it's basically faked for the rest of the time. So
yeah.
Same thing with Pawn Stars. Like it was interesting at first because it's like, oh, here's a sideways into like a history lesson. Like that was fun. And then they just became like a con after that. So which I guess is right in point with a pawn shop anyway. So
yeah, it's kind of like the what do they call it? It's like when you lie down with dogs, you get food. Yeah, yeah.
Then we see Glowsy is dressed as a paramedic, so they got all the emergency people set up here. We cut to Frowley meets with Krista, who's like, she's just full of drugs and alcohol, and she's going to lose her kids because she just wrecked a car with her kid in it full of drugs.
Also an avalanche. Interesting.
Oh, it is? Okay.
About avalanches in this movie. They don't like them.
Well, that's yeah, right there. She also has like they have all the crew's cars are in her name, which I don't think she knows that, but that's her value to them is that she's got a social security number. Let's use it against. So this is all she's good for. So yeah, she's conflicted here because she doesn't want to sell out Doug, but she still wants to keep her kid that she doesn't care about, but it's still like her bargaining chip, and she wants to pretend like she loves her child. So
child, as long as it serves her interest.
Yeah. Again, this is a very complicated role. So she says she knows Doug is going away after, and then like she doesn't really specify. Then Frowley like turns on the concern to get to what he wants. So. And then we cut away because we don't actually know what she tells him, but it's enough for him to guess. So,
yeah.
Which I guess Doug was at a hotel next to Fenway Park, and so I guess that's probably all she really knows about the job. So, then we cut to the crew tap into like the security cams and like shut it down like on a network level because I'm guessing like they stop the cams from sending out to like some cloud server and stuff like that, and then stop all the internal stuff too. Doug and James work a con on the guards where like they end up all pulling guns on each other because they're like, hey, we got a call for a robbery, and they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, hey, let's see some IDs, and they all start pulling guns at each other, and then all the like the security guys like back down and they tie them up. And then Doug goes to the door where like all the cash is held, and he threatens the guy, which is a very smart thing where he's like, hey, here's where you live, here's the name of your wife. Ironically, both of them have a wife named Linda.
One of them owns like 3 dogs, and they know.
I forget, he says some line like the Lindas would like to live tonight or something like that.
So the Lindas want you to open the door.
So yeah, they go in and they get the cash and make their way outside. The guys threaten them as they're tying them up. It's like, yeah, we know people. It's like, yeah, okay, dude.
We know people in prison. Your life's going to be hell. There's something.
Yeah, they work their way outside. They're like passing cops and stuff and kind of look around suspicious, but like no one really suspects them. They're all just everyone's just kind of nodding to each other. They get to the ambulance. There's like an armored car. Ironically, there's like an armored bank car like parked in front of a garage door here.
Yeah.
And so they unload the cash in the ambulance and they start changing uniforms. And then Doug gets a weird feeling and starts looking around. And then we kind of see a shot outside and we see like all the cops and FBI are filling the streets, which they don't exactly know where they are. They just know like there's something going on around here. But then we see James sees a mirror down a hallway and he just like grabs a gun and fires at it and hits it, I think. And so they get in a firefight with the FBI SWAT team.
Yeah, it seems like there's different forces at work here because these guys look almost military.
Yeah.
Like they're wearing like full plate trauma armor and stuff and helmets. These aren't like the normal cops.
Glowsy takes a hit, like I think in like the thigh or something like that, and they just kind of like cinch him up. Then the armored truck that's next to him starts firing at him through the porthole, and then Doug just grabs his like AR-15, his fully auto one, and just runs up and shoves his gun through the porthole and just
Which is a cool scene.
Yeah.
Stop shooting at me now, right, pal? Because I'm supposed to be bouncing all over the inside of that vehicle.
And then James like hits the garage door to open it up, and he just keeps firing at the guy, and the guy like just races out, and then the cops start firing at the armored car, and then it wrecks. Like, I don't think this guy actually gets killed, but like he wrecks his car.
Yeah, the bullets don't get through except for the ones that he's firing through the port.
Yeah.
Would it be wild if they had a port gun for this scene? Like, we happened to bring one of these. I would probably kill the guy. It was funny how they induced fear in the armored truck driver.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, open the door. He's going to drive out. The way for us.
Then the SWAT throws flashbangs into the garage, and like, Doug calls out like, cover your ears, and then like it goes off, and they're, even though they're like cover their ears, it's still like, they can't avoid it. Flashbang.
No, they're terrifying.
Desmond's like dizzy, and he's like starts to stand up, and then like James is like no, and then he just immediately gets shot in the head and killed. Then Glowsy wants to sacrifice himself, and so he takes the ambulance out to run a distraction, and then he just gets shot up and killed, and the ambulance crashes, which they go up.
It does crash into the like
a
command control.
Oh yeah.
That the Boston police have.
Yeah.
It's like he just destroyed a 300,000 vehicle.
Okay, I didn't know it was command center. I thought that was like a TV truck. That makes more sense then. So,
I saw the shield.
Right. Okay.
Boston police use the same. Still to this day, they use the same like font that they did in Aliens. For it's the same font.
Huh.
But don't ask me how I know that. That was my short-lived time, and like I'm gonna build props for movies. I learned all about fonts, and it's like, yeah, they use the same font that they did in Alien. So yeah.
Doug and James get back in their cop uniforms. They blend in with the cops as they like bitch at the FBI SWAT team because they don't know what each other is doing.
Oh, it's a turf war.
Yeah.
Because the guys are like, Boston PD, knock it off. FBI guys are like, this is a crime scene. You must leave. And they're like, fuck you, man. I see morons. And yeah, they just blend right in. They're not wearing sunglasses this time. Sunglasses cops are the most scary.
They're the alcoholics.
That's what you want to deal with is a hungover cop.
Not only an itchy, triggy finger, but a shaky one too.
Yeah. Pull that gun out. He's gonna be like Barney Fife. It's like, are you nervous? It's like, no, I haven't had a drink. I'm not nervous at all.
They get info delivered that that Fenway got robbed by cops, so now they're probably looking for someone in a cop uniform. Frowley goes after James because he sees a cop walking away from the scene with a bag, so he's like, well, that's our guy.
Yeah, it's obviously full of money. Yeah.
And he keeps walking up behind him, and he says like, officer, officer, and then he just says like James. He says like his full name, and then that's when he turns around and fires at him, and Frowley jumps behind a car, and then like James kind of like chases him around the car, and then like kind of, I forget if he just runs out of ammo here, but he like moves on to traffic after.
It's one of the scariest, like, it's the only time you like feel for the FBI guy. Like that would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Someone's chasing you literally around the perimeter of a sedan with a fully automatic weapon. You got to keep one step ahead of him the whole. Somehow he holds onto his shotgun the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, I just be waiting for the SOB on my back with the shotgun.
Yeah.
It's happened so quickly that he can't get away from him.
But yeah, Frowley runs off, and then like James runs off, and then Frowley kind of like gets up sometime later and gets a shot at him, and then like he hits him in the leg. He's like running through traffic too, and then other cops start to show up. He like ends up like on a what do you call those things with the newspapers in them?
It's like a post box,
like, yeah, newsstand or whatever.
Newspaper vending thing, yeah.
He's like leaned up against that. Somebody has dropped their food, and there's just like a styrofoam cup with like some Coke in it or something like that. So he takes a swig of that, and he's like yelling at Frowley, and he says like, "All right, I'm giving up," and then he just like pops out and starts firing, and then just immediately gets shot in the head.
Well, no, he doesn't pop out and start firing. He's out of ammo.
Oh, okay.
His Glock is locked back. He doesn't have any more magazines, and the Tech 9 doesn't even have a magazine.
Okay.
He's just choosing to die because he's third strike. He's out. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, shoot me. And they shoot. He gets shot in the face,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like his head doesn't
Yeah,
explode.
he's got like two like two like bullet holes or it's a shotgun pellets, but yeah, he gets immediately shot in the face and killed, and they shoot him some more times because he's armed and dangerous. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're pissed off. This guy's like shot your car up. It's like, oh, I'm emptying a magazine here. He's going down.
And then Doug just gets in a police car and drives off. Does he have a bag or does he have none of the money here?
I think it's just him and a radio. I didn't see a bag.
Okay.
But they were mainly filming a reaction shot from the head up,
Yeah.
so from the torso up. So maybe he did.
Okay.
But I wasn't under the impression he had the money.
Okay. Doug pulls up to the florist in the cop car. He whispers to Rusty like, "Hey, something."
Yeah, I love the scene. He's like, "Yeah, get him out here. There's a problem." And he just holds a gun up to his head and pulls the trigger, like point blank, like right in the side of the head.
Yeah, this is the first time he's killed somebody in this movie, so and he's just very nonchalant about it.
He hasn't killed anyone. Now committed. He's like, not only am I killing people, but I'm doing it at staple gun range. So.
But it's almost like it's a great scene because it's almost like hilarious. It's like he tricked the guy by whispering and then shot him right in the fucking head. It's like
yeah.
I don't think this is in the book, but again, like the last 2 hours was distracting when I was listening to it. Yeah, Doug goes to the back and like Fergie's already kind of on, like he hears gunshots, so he's already like, so they end up in kind of like a shootout, but then Doug has body armor, so it stops the bullets, and then Fergie goes down, and then he talks to Fergie like, and then shoots him in the balls, but that's, you know, this has some symbology to it, but also this also just kills Fergie.
Fergie told him that he clipped his dad's balls and basically made him a bitch.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then, like, the last thing he says to him before he shoots, he puts his gun up to his crotch. He's like, "Remember you were talking about my balls earlier?" And then it just pulls the trigger. He pulls the trigger, and then the scene cuts to something else. So, yeah.
And then the FBI find him dead later on. So Fergie's not alive to have his balls missing. So we also got shot in the chest a couple of times. That's not going to help. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Fergie comes out with like a 1911. And Ben Affleck has like a Glock 17, and they're just like emptying guns into each other. But yeah, because Ben Affleck has body armor on, it doesn't kill him.
Doug calls Claire, then we see like we kind of reveal that the FBI's waiting at her place and her lawyer, like in the corner.
She finally got a lawyer. Good for
her. We see that Doug's like watching from across the street, like. They're kind of speaking in code or whatnot. So here's Doug is trying to assess like whether she's trying to sell him out or not. But yeah, this is where she says.
Also, he has binoculars and he can see the apartment is full of cops.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So this is all. It's like he just wants to see where Claire is, where her loyalties lie. Which he's kind of given up on it. It's like, I better not come by. But then she says something about a sunny day, and that kind of brightens him up. It's like, oh, she doesn't want to sell me out. It's like, okay. Because that, like we discussed, that means danger. So,
yes.
Because she's trying not to aid in a bed deliberately. So she tells him to come there. He says he's going to come there, which puts her in the clear because she did everything the FBI asked her for. So, see, Doug is dressed as a transit authority, which there's also like a photo of like, I don't know, an uncle or grandpa or somebody who did like.
This is his brother's or his dad's brother.
Okay.
That's why he puts like a bunch of money behind the picture before he leaves of his uncle.
Is that supposed to be for Krista or somebody to find?
No, it's for his uncle, I believe.
Oh, it's always okay. His uncle's still alive. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
This is for me stealing your MTA authority, transit authority uniform.
I mean, I'm assuming he's still alive, but yeah. It could be Krista's dad too. I don't remember exactly how it all went. I thought it was an uncle.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I don't think I saw like McLaughlin on there. I think it was probably McRae, so that makes sense. I don't think we never saw an uncle in the movie, right? So
not that I.
So this has no context really. Oh man, was I going to bring up? I had a point and then immediately forgot it. Oh well. So yeah, Doug is dressed up in transit authority, and he makes his way out. He's like getting on buses and stuff. He leaves some cash behind the photos. Doug stops by the garden and like buries. Does he just bury all his money here?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think he have because he does have to survive.
Okay. Um, do you think this is money from the score he stole from her bank, or is this from the recent score? Or did he get? Do you think he got away with any money from the
I don't
Finley?
think he got away with any money, which makes the last score sad because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It was a bad idea, and everyone died but him.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of makes it like, this is from other scores.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see him with any. Because it seemed like they put it in one common bag that Jeremy Renner, Jim had.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
He gets on a. Oh, I know. What was it? Shit. I had it and then it went away.
He's getting on an MTA bus.
No, I'm trying to remember something from the book that's interesting, but I forget it. It keeps popping in my head like this thing, and then it leaves immediately. Something about these scenes are like reminding me of it, and then I immediately forget. He gets on a public bus. Then Frowley guesses that Doug isn't coming, and so the FBI moves out. And then Frowley finds a note in his car that says "Go fuck yourself," which is a fun little moment.
That is fun that he was brave enough to I'm gonna go put this note on this.
Then we cut to Doug rides the train. Then we cut to Claire's tending her garden and finds a bag of money he left her, and there's like a voiceover of Doug saying like he's leaving the city for the first time, and then like that she'll do more good with the money than he'll ever will. And then like we see that Claire used the money to fix up the ice rink, which they talk about briefly in the beginning of the movie. And they dedicates it to Doug's mother, which is weird because that's not suspicious at all. Although it does say an anonymous donation, so
yeah, it says anonymous donation, so that's how they got away with it.
And then we see Doug on
the last thing that the FBI agent, what's his name, Frowley says to her is we're a national organization, right? Like wherever, because when he doesn't show up,
yeah.
It's like, we're going to find him eventually.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah, she does have to be a little circumspect. But
and then we see Doug on a small dock somewhere in Florida, probably. And that's the end of he gets the kind of Andy Dufresne ending. So, yeah.
Nice and hot. In Boston all your life, and now you're in Florida. And it's like, man, I should start robbing banks again. This sucks.
So yeah, that's the end of the movie. The book's different, but more cliched because he gets shot in the last bank robbery, goes to Claire's, and basically just bleeds out while Frowley's standing there and hey, why'd you do it? So,
that sucks.
And then actually the very last moment is so in the book they're hiding out in the bank before it opens.
Yeah.
And so the book ends on going to them hanging out in the bank waiting for the robbery to start, and then he's last thought is seeing Claire and thinking she's like a nice person or something like that. So it's more interesting here. It seems less likely, dying in a bank robbery seems more what's going to happen, or just getting arrested. So it's
yeah,
especially for guys just openly firing on federal agents and stuff like that. So that seems like how this is going to end. So but again, it's not it seems like he gave up a lot of his money. He lives in a shack in Florida. It's I don't know how much better this is. So
yeah, that's the thing is life doesn't seem to improve a lot.
Yeah.
It's well, I'm not in prison. Well, that's definitely true.
But yeah, it's a good heist movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Ben Affleck did this. Then he did Argo, and then The latest thing he did is I think it's called Air. It's like the Air Jordan movie, the
Okay.
sneakers movie, which I hear is weirdly good. But I don't know, I almost feel like I should not watch a movie about a product, but it's probably fine. There's like a lot of product movies. Like you had like Barbie, the BlackBerry movie, and the Air Jordan movie. Like all came out in like the same like 3 months. So,
Huh.
um, but yeah, Ben Affleck a decent director. I don't know what he's got lined up next. I know his personal life seems to be all over the place. So.
He's got a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire.
He must be on that Ozempic because he's like in good shape and smokes. So,
Well, he just become fully French.
yeah.
He can wear like an Adidas, a small Adidas tracksuit and look good, and then drink wine and smoke all and somehow like look great.
um, but yeah, he came out with Accountant 2 recently. He was Batman in the like Schneiderverse Batman, but that's like over with, so I doubt he's doing that anymore. Um, where is his director credits? What has he gotten? What's he got next for directing? I don't know what Live by Night is. Apparently that was. Hmm?
I don't know either.
It's another Ben Affleck movie.
Huh.
Oh, Boston gangsters set up shop in balmy Florida during Prohibition era, facing off against the competition and the Ku Klux Klan.
Interesting.
Does he have any up and coming? He's post production on some movie called Animals and something called Witness for the Prosecution. So that's what's up next for his directing credits.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fine.
You think he took a pay cut for this movie? You think he basically like just all producing credits on this and like whatever money's made, he's gonna make a bunch off of this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Because it's like I said, like even though 37 million seems like a lot of money, that's not a lot of money for an action movie.
No, it's not a lot of money for a movie with three pretty intense action pieces in it, and all the.
And
But
shot in Boston. That's not cheap to shoot in Boston.
No, it is not. A lot of the wider scenes, I guess, were shot in Connecticut.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's it's a great movie. I forgot. This is one of those things I watched once and it kind of escaped me, and then I watched it again. It's like, yeah, this was a good. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Definitely a high point in Jeremy Renner's career.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like Hurt Locker might be the pinnacle, but this is still like this might be his heyday of his film career of like the best work and like the most recognition. So
Well, it's like you're given free reign.
yeah.
Like when he's doing the Marvel movies, it's like, no, you're playing as like a set character. Bring some personality to it, but it's still going to be like, it's going to be this.
Well, then
And then, of course, what happened to Jeremy Renner, in retrospect, got run over by a plow or something. It's like, and he should have been dead.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's nuts. That's crazy.
yeah, well, he like pushed like some nephew out of the way and saved their life or something like that. So
Yeah, because he was basically driving like a tracked snow removal vehicle.
yeah,
And I guess, I don't know, I've never driven tracked vehicles, but it was essentially like accidentally in neutral.
yeah.
And so he got down to do something, had to push someone out of the way, and it just rolled over. This big multi-ton like vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, broke every bone in his body for all intents and purposes. And then I hear him on Joe Rogan like a year later talking about the afterlife, like very convincingly, like, I think I was supposed to die, and this is what I saw. And I felt, it's like, this is crazy.
It's almost like Tracy Morgan, but Jeremy Renner doesn't get like $100 million settlement out of it.
No, because he's just glad nobody died.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy Morgan's I understand, like, he deserved every dime of that because he's like sitting in his own vehicle doing what he's supposed to do, and then somebody just plows into it. It's like that would infuriate, and then he's like almost dies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I would be furious. And if I had a lot of money, guess what? I'm hiring lawyers. Right? Because it was Walmart truck that hit him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He got like $100 million from Walmart.
Reputation through the mud.
Well, I don't know what the settlement was, but it was a lot. It's enough that he never has to work ever again. So.
Oh yeah, he got paid for sure, and he deserves it.
Yes.
You almost get killed. Hey, guess what? You deserve all the money you can extract from those assholes because they're not doing anything good for anyone.
And I wonder if his celebrity helped them. Do you think these crashes happen all the time? But if you're nobody, you don't get this settlement out of Walmart.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Also, he had the money to hire an army of lawyers.
Yeah, but you have to imagine there would be an army of lawyers willing to do this for a part of the settlement too.
Yeah, he doesn't have to deal with that though. He's like, I can just pay your costs, give you 70% of the settlement.
Well, we're sending a probe into space containing the supercut of scenes from the improv collection. That is the Verhoeven. Nathan, what one scene from the town are we shoving into space?
We got to do the nun bank robbery
Okay.
scene because that explains both the aspirations and the coolness of this movie at the same time. It's like they're doing an homage to Heat, but they're also doing their own thing on a very small scale, and it's still pretty damn cool. Because this is basically a shootout in an alley.
Yeah.
It looks bad as hell. It's like really looks cool. Whereas like Heat, they're doing a shootout in downtown Los Angeles, and you know it.
Yeah.
Firing a machine gun into a canyon. It's like, yeah, and this movie kind of replicates that, but stays within its own framework of what it's doing.
And you get a piece of like one of your favorite moments in cinema of the cop just looking the other way. So.
Because it's that happened in real life. Because everyone could be a hero. It's like it's one guy, I got a chance. It's like 4 guys with fully automatic weapons. Yeah, I'm just guess what? I don't see that. I'm going to be on the radio as soon as they leave.
Yeah.
Because and the other cops are going to mess with you. It's like, well, why didn't you get out and kick ass? It's like, well, I've almost got my pension. And you're not going to fight 4 guys with machine guns either. But yeah, it was a good scene because you wondered for a minute, like, are they going to cross over into pure evil at this point? Just gun this guy down. Yeah. And there's a bunch of kids, like it's like a playground or something in the background, isn't there?
It was like construction or something.
Okay, but there's people there.
Yes.
So if gunfire started, like someone's getting hit. So I think everyone made like the non-evil choice. It's like, yeah, look the other way. It's a good choice sometimes.
You can find us a letterbox username VHE 1 out of 5 stars. What are we giving the town?
I'm gonna give this town 5 stars.
Really? Okay.
Just for factor and for Jeremy Renner's performance.
Okay.
Considering he was a late addition and kind of given, I guess, a lot of free reign. Like, what would you want the character to be? Because I guess he's from Modesto, California. He doesn't know about this culture of Boston like Ben Affleck and some of the other guys did.
Yeah.
So he plays like the best version of that he can. And it shows like why Jeremy Renner's a good actor.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's the loyal psychopath in this movie. Because the people that are just psychotic, like, well, you have to kill them. This guy's like, no, I don't want anything. He's a bad person, but I don't want bad things to happen to him because he's loyal to his friend. Like, he could have killed Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
He knocked him on the ground. He had a gun tucked in the back of his shirt. It's like he's
killed people before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's before. And he did it for Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like he's a combination of loyal and crazy.
Well, Nathan.
But yeah, definitely recommend the town.
Well, Nathan, did we learn anything today?
We learned that robbing banks and armored cars in alleyways is very harrowing. And you've got to have a good vehicle and a good driver to do it. And I've also learned that you can fire fully automatic weapons right next to somebody's head and then afterwards carry on a normal volume. I didn't know that was possible. I guess it is.
And you can shove the gun through the other way through the porthole and fire in. So,
which is, I don't think that's ever been done before.
Yeah.
And it was a great, like, on the moment, like, hey, how can we get this guy to drive out there? Oh, I know. Stop shooting at us for one thing, and another thing, we can get him to drive this mobile tank out there and be a bullet magnet while we make other.
Well, you can find our podcast at veroeffect.com. There we have listener support. You can support us at a monthly stipend on 99 cents, 4.99 or 99. Cancel anytime. You can rate our podcast where you want. The only thing the algorithm listens to is the highest ratings. Remember, you must control the algorithm. Give us the highest rating. Give us a boon to follow the rest of it. We don't want to rob banks. We just want people to give us money for entertaining them. So, yeah, we don't gotta launder it.
Yeah. I don't have to go to a casino and do something weird.
We don't gotta do like oxys and play the ponies.
Yeah.
You can find us on Twitter at Verhoeven. You can find us at Blue Sky Social at Verhoeven, and you can find us on Facebook at Verhoeven, and you can find us on YouTube at American Greed Factory. And watch those and both this and that show live and unedited. So for the Verhoeven Effect podcast, I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
Goodbye, America.